The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
A clash of the Titans into the rink to go toe-to-toe. The champs out of the Western Frontier, a date with Detroit. The Wings, the challengers, been around long enough to hurt you. Game 2, round 1. The kid, Alex Tanguay, lands one for the Avs. This might not go the distance. But middle frame at the Joe, with the champions starting the roll, they let their guard down. Gritty, Kirk Maltby strikes. Late going, a big blow, count 3-2. The Swede, Nick Lidstrom, slips one by. We have a split decision. Calls for another round, and the champs floor the challengers early. Chris Drury stings Detroit. The challengers in the red corner, the champs in the white. Rivals in the Rockies, a thrilling third time. The Avalanche and their fans come rolling home to Denver on a Rocky Mountain high. They clip the Wings 4-3 in overtime. Game 2 at Joe Louis Arena. And now the Avalanche bring their arch rivals, the Wings, into the Pepsi Center. This is home of some of the most rabid fans in all of hockey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game 3 in the Western Conference Final between Detroit and Colorado. I'm Scott Russell. Is there a buzz about hockey in this big American city? The answer is a resounding yes. 345 consecutive sellouts for the Avalanche. Before we get rolling, I want to pass along that the coach and general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Pat Quinn, is still in a Toronto hospital with a heart irregularity. The doctors are watching him closely, and we have the latest from Leaf President Ken Dryden.
Pat Quinn is in Toronto General Hospital with a heart arrhythmia and a regular heartbeat. This was detected first last Friday in North Carolina. He might be released as early as tomorrow. It might be after that. It is very unlikely that he will be behind the bench coaching tomorrow night. It is unlikely that he will be coaching on Saturday in Carolina.
Rick Lee at the helm of the Toronto Maple Leafs. From all of us at Hockey Night in Canada, our best wishes to Pat Quinn for a speedy return. Meantime, on to our series. We are all tied up, as is the captain of the Detroit Red Wings, Steve Yzerman, Detroit's Stevie Wonder. He's 37 years old in his 18th NHL season. Throughout the playoffs so far, he has been outstanding and on a bad knee, but he continues to soldier on. He takes the hits, he gets chances, he wins face-offs, about 60% of them, but he has not scored yet in this Western Conference Final against the Colorado Avalanche. There are the numbers on Steve Yzerman. Of particular note, take a look at the ice time, 23:39 in game number 2. He has 14 playoff points. The Wings will count on him. Here is Kelly Rudy, and you know what? This series may go a long way, and with that comes a physical toll on the players. Pound for pound, this could get rugged.
Yeah, Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman obviously are the keys to their two teams. Now, what I find interesting is how Colorado's really going after Steve Yzerman. They obviously know that he's injured, so every opportunity, they put him on the ice, they make it a tough game. But what I'd like to see Detroit do more of is do the same with Joe Sakic. Now, they're both Warriors, but the thing in favor of Colorado is that they have 4 defensemen that can do it. They have Foote, Blake, Kasparis, and DeVries, whereas Detroit, they're really limited basically to Chelios and Fischer, in my opinion.
Something to keep in mind, the Detroit Red Wings are the oldest team in the playoffs right now, and I wonder, with players like Chris Chelios, as this heats up, can they continue to take that physical abuse that this will require?
Yeah, I don't think the physical pounding is going to be a problem, Scott, but what I do worry about as the games go on and the series goes on, a about the speed of the game. Both teams are great at the transition part of the game. Now, if Detroit comes at them or Colorado goes right back to Detroit, can they keep up?
Great. How do you like being on the ice?
This is why
This
I like
place,
I can hear you.
yeah, it's going to rock in here at the Pepsi Center. Colorado has lost 3 times in the playoffs here, and the Detroit Red Wings are 4-1 on the road in the postseason. Maybe a good sign for them. Here are Chris Cuthbert, Greg Millen.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening, everybody. Prior to Game 2, we talked about the importance of Colorado's supporting cast providing some offense, matching the Darren McCartys. And here come the Avalanche. Well, based on the way the star players for Colorado are playing, Greg, they don't really need the supporting cast. They've been dominant. No wonder Scotty Bowman is suggesting his star players have to get going.
Well, they sure do have to get going. There's no doubt about that. As we look at the numbers, Brett Hall with 1 even strength goal. That's it for the Detroit Red Wings. Meanwhile, there's no question that the Avalanche, their big guys are really going right now. And that's been the difference so far, particularly obviously in Game 2.
14 points for the marquee players of Colorado, only 6 for Detroit. So what do the Red Wings do to counter that?
Well, one thing for sure, Detroit has to start going to the net. I mean, my goodness, if we look at a couple of examples here from their big line of Fedorov, Yzerman, and Shanahan. Here's a wide-angle shot by Shanahan. Nobody in front at all for Detroit. Here's another example, a good rush chance. However, Brendan Shanahan rolls behind the net. Fedorov doesn't go to the net. Steve Yzerman can't because of his injury. And right now, that's got to change because you can't beat Patrick Waugh from the outside. It just won't happen.
Well, there's no doubt the players heard Scotty Bowman's comments, and people like Sergei Fedorov know they have to be better in game number 3. So the stage is set here at the Pepsi Center. Game 3 of the Western Conference Final coming right up.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Labatt Blue, official sponsor of the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
This is the life. This is your home away from home. This is your signature dish. This is marinating. And this is the life.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
If not, you don't know what you're missing. Test drive any new Ford and you could scratch and win one of 25 Ford Mustang GT convertibles. Or up to $1,000 in dealer gift certificates. Over $5 million in prizes available to be won. There's never been a better time to buy. Catch the excitement during Ford's $5 million Test Drive Challenge.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
This portion of Hockey Night in Canada brought to you by Ford of Canada, Canada's #1 choice.
There's the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, as we make ready for game number 3 in the Western Conference Final, all tied up 1-1 between the Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche. Here's Kelly Rudy. And you know what? There was a rumor out there that the Wings were going to make some lineup changes. What do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea to spread rumors like that. If I was in the Detroit organization, you know why? Keeps the guys on edge. And you always like the guys to be on edge because then they're going to play their best, always thinking that if they don't, they could be out of the lineup.
They better be on edge tonight. They go against the Avalanche in game number 3 with the call. Here are Chris Cuthbert and Greg Millen.
Thank you, Scott. After a split in Detroit, the Red Wings and Avalanche prepare to untie this Western Conference Final. Well, it has yet to be the goaltending duel that we anticipated. Dominic Hasek's save percentage .868 in the first 2 games of this series. At the other end, Patrick Waugh .873, and tonight he ties Mark Messier for most Stanley Cup playoff games played, game 236 of his distinguished career. Referees, there's Kerry Fraser, along with Rob Schick. In charge tonight, Mark Wheeler and Dan Shakty are on the lines. And Greg, the matchups may change because this time Scotty Bowman doesn't get last change.
Well, he's got his checking line to start out here. against the Forsberg line, and it stays the same on defense. Now, Nicholas Lidstrom starts out against Forsberg, so we'll watch for that.
This the line for Colorado that figured in all the scoring. Peter Forsberg with a goal and 3 assists in the 4-3 overtime victory 2 nights ago. Puck played around by Waugh. McCarty waiting for it. Rebound snapped up by Draper. Played to the point. Lidstrom bouncing the shot through. Now Forsberg, the leading scorer in the postseason. Olesen sends it to the far wing. There's Steve Reinprecht, who had 2 assists on goals 3 and 4 2 nights ago, and both were brilliant plays. Kasparaitis, a long, low shoot-in, gloved by Hasek. Olesen, a lead feed, knocked down at center ice. Sakic unable to reach it, and it's picked up by Hayduk. Now sent in by Foot. Puck played around, Olesen taken down. Tanguay was there for Colorado. Now it's picked up by Datsuk. Datsuk with Devereaux and Hull. This line has provided a goal in each game for the Red Wings. Waugh out again to play it. Datsuk waiting for it. Sidestep Sakic, playing it for Devereaux, unable to get a shot away. Now Milan Hayduk on the right side. He'll flip it deep and get a change. Hasek out of the net. Nearly had his pocket picked by Eric Messier. At the point, Blake's shot is wide of the target. DeVries moves up, and Brett Hull took control. There's Yuri Fisher, who had a tough night on Monday evening at Joe Louis. -3 after +4 in game 1. Now Keane dumps it in. Yell being tied up as Robitaille was watching him. Keane took down Chelios, takes the puck, and lost it in turn as Fedorov took it away. Now Forsberg for the overtime hero Drury. 25 postseason goals for Chris Drury, and 10 have been game winners. That's the most in the NHL since Drury came into the league 4 years ago.
And Chris, so far here, Scotty Bowman's changed things up a bit. He's got Nicholas Lidstrom out against Fedorov, not Chelios' pair. So we'll watch for that as this first period goes on. But a big switch here in Colorado for Scotty Bowman on the defense pairings.
Now it's Hinote battling for it behind the net. Martin Skula had moved up. Peter Forsberg getting a double shift with Riku Hall and Dan Hinote.
So the Red Wing line stay the same. He had Maltby, Draper, and McCarty out against Forsberg. But on defense, Lidstrom with Olsen rather. So that's a bit of a change. Fisher and Chelios. Fisher had a very tough time against Forsberg in game 2. So Fisher and Chelios now out against the Sakic line to start out this hockey game. So we'll see if Scotty Bowman decides to keep this that way. And right now he's got his 3rd pairing out against the Sakic line. So Scotty Bowman shuffling the deck already early here.
Well, here's a change. Young Jason Williams centering Shanahan and Yzerman. Igor Larionov took the morning skate, but still not ready. There's Yzerman playing it in behind to young Williams.
And now Fisher and Chelios back out against the Sakic line. A quick change for Scotty Bowman when the puck went in to Colorado's zone.
Foot being watched by Williams, and Fisher plays it to Chelios. Chris Chelios took a minor and a misconduct following the Draper goal to win game 2. Here's Fisher. That shot hit DeVries, went wide. Off the wall, a puck off the side of the net. Now Maltby's on it. He's being watched by Sakic. Maltby, who scored the shorthanded goal in game 2. Chelios flipping it to the net. Through traffic wide. Maltby takes a look. The grind line has control in the Avalanche zone. There's McCarty trying the backhand, fanned on it. Sakic off the boards and out.
And the grind line going head-to-head against Joe Sakic. So Scotty Bowman trying line for line early here in Colorado.
Now DeVries with McCarty on his tail. Played ahead and out by the Avalanche. Duchesne backtracking. Hinote takes him to the end boards. Now in on the forecheck, Riku Hall. Skula banned on the shoot-in, and the Red Wings are up with it. Matthew Dandino ahead to Hull. He'll get it deep. And that was a message for Detroit to start getting that puck in deep and going after it. Hull's got it. He spins it to Datsuk. Looking for Devereaux. This is the only line Scotty Bowman's really been happy with in both games of this series. Devereaux, Datsuk, and Hull, who centers, and it's knocked away by Blake and back down into the Detroit zone. Duchesne to set things up. Now Keane out with Yell and Messier. Red Olsen. That's knocked down by Yell. The only forward without a goal for Colorado. Along the boards, Messier and Yell digging against Robitaille and Olsen. And Messier stays on it. They still scrum along the boards. Holmstrom digs it loose. Nick Lidstrom looks for Holmstrom. In, Holmstrom trying to barge through, and he's knocked down. Good play by Foot. Now it's back outside the line as the pass from Fedorov pulled Lidstrom out. Robitaille now. He's hit along the boards. Fedorov is out with Robitaille and Holmstrom, who just missed at the side of the net with a tip. And now Drury starts back. Here's Chris Drury to the attack. Shot on Hatchet, and the big rebound is cleared.
Scotty Bowman as well trying to spread out his offense a little bit more here in game 3. Fedorov comes off the big line. Williams goes in. Fedorov goes with Robitaille.
So a different role for Jason Williams, who's normally been on a checking line, and with limited ice time, he flips it towards Waugh, and he holds on. 6 minutes, 9 seconds into game 3 in Denver.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sand and watches the ships that go sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to her arms I'd go.
One of the bottles fell in the lake.
Okay, I guess I'll go get it.
It's gonna be cold in there, man.
Oh, baby won his bottle. How bad can it be?
If you're considering having LASIK surgery, you should consider a place that you can trust. See what our patients at LASIK centers had to say about us.
If I would have known it was this easy, I would have done it a long time ago.
From the first moment I stepped into the LASIK center, I felt extremely comfortable. The staff was great, the doctors were great, and they're history.
It's amazing. What are you waiting for?
Call now for the special offer of only $4.99 per eye. LASIK Centers of America. The difference is clear to see.
Well, the Avalanche stay the same in their lineup. Watch for the first 2 lines to get a ton of ice time. The next game in this series will be Saturday afternoon. So a little bit of rest for all the players. The defense stay the same as well for Colorado.
Bob Hartley told us before the game, with that extra day, the meter will be running for the likes of Sakic and Forsberg, who really didn't play a lot in game 2, considering that it went to overtime. Sakic just over 20 minutes, and Forsberg was 17 and a half. Now Williams busts out. A lead feed for Shanahan. Here's Shanahan snapping the shot on. Moving up was Fisher. And that's something that Scotty Bowman talked about. The defense being more active, and a chance for Yzerman. Stopped by Waugh as Yzerman was set up in the slot. Puck along the boards, and Kasparaitis gloves it across to the other side. That's the best chance in the opening 7 minutes, and it goes to the Detroit captain. And again, it all started with Yuri Fisher jumping up. Scotty Bowman saying he wanted his defense to be more swashbuckling in game 3. I think that means more aggressive.
I'm going to ask you what that meant. Sounds good, though.
Here's Riku Hall behind the net. Takes a look for Larson, who fires it across. Draper, too far for McCarty at center, and now Larson with some room, back in, and the former Swift Current Broncos shot knocked down by Duchesne.
This is a good start for Detroit as they slowed down the Avalanche here early in this first period. And normally Colorado loves to come out in a hurry in this building. And the first good chance of the hockey game goes to Detroit. Steve Yzerman right in the slot. Now he was on the point taking Fisher's place. Fisher came back. That allowed Steve Yzerman to come late into the slot. And here is the initial rush. And there is Fisher behind the net. He's going to get the puck. Yzerman at the moment is at the top of your screen. And now he's going to sneak in as from the defensive position to come into the slot. Patrick Wall read it beautifully. He came right across to rob Steve Yzerman.
Yzerman 1 goal away from tying Gordie Howe on the all-time Detroit list for most playoff goals. He has 66, Howe has 67, and Yzerman registered his 100th Stanley Cup playoff assist in Game 2. Approaching the 8-minute mark. There's Martin Skula ahead for Forsberg. Great pass. Drury and a fine stop by Hatchick on the best chance for Colorado in this first period. Hull back the other way. Maybe this will be the night the goaltenders duel and decide things.
We've been waiting for it. It hasn't happened yet.
Kept in Lidstrom. His shot knocked down. And Drury dishes to Forsberg. Peter Forsberg 1 point away from matching a career best in Stanley Cup play for a single season. 23 points so far to lead all playoff competitors. Lidstrom followed back by Keane. Red Wings in the midst of a change. Up ahead, it's Robitaille playing it down into the Avalanche zone. Sent off the boards, broken up by Dandino. Now Rob Blake. Up ahead, Yell, and he'll dump it into the benches and get a whistle.
Well, off the rush, both teams are such terrific rush chance teams because they pass well and they skate well to the neutral zone. Good pass by Forsberg, catches Detroit backing in way too much. And that's why Nicholas Lidstrom gets caught, because he's well back. He's almost at the hash marks, and Drury coming through the middle with speed catches Nicholas Lidstrom flat-footed. You don't see that very often.
Drury's overtime goal the other night, the 4th time he has scored a game winner against the Red Wings, and again, 10 game-winning goals in his 4-year career. So he is Mr. Clutch in Colorado. Here's Fedorov. Fedorov spins, shoots. Now tries another from a bad angle. He's got it again. A penalty upcoming against the Avalanche as Fedorov causes a commotion in the Avalanche zone, and the penalty upcoming.
I'll give you $10,000 to drive me to Paris. I can't remember anything that happened before 2 weeks ago.
Trained by the government.
You've got a Black Ops agent who's off the reservation.
Trying to disappear.
I don't even know who I'm hiding from. I gotta figure this out.
Born to survive.
You! Stop right there!
From the director of Go and Swingers, Matt Damon.
It's not gonna stop.
What are you gonna do?
The Bourne Identity.
I'm on my own side now. You understand?
At theaters Friday, June 14th.
Now, Rob Blake's playing with a hurt leg, and he told me this morning that it's not hurting him defensively, but it's hurting him from jumping up into the play. Well, he doesn't have position there on Robitaille and hauls him down for the first penalty of the game.
Puck got by Hull at the point. He has to scramble back. Look out. Here's Keane dropping it off, and Drury checked on the play as Brent Hull got back to recover after that play at the point. Waugh sends it to center. Keane gets it the rest of the way.
And another switch for Scotty Bowman. Brett Hull now on the point on the power play. So Bowman giving Hartley all kinds of different looks here early in this first period.
Red Wings lead the Stanley Cup playoffs with 13 power play goals. That puck knocked down at the line by Hull, but brought out to center. Yzerman is on the ice with Fedorov and Holmstrom, Hull and Lidstrom. Puck around, and Highnote's going to get a chance to clear, and Highnote sprawls to get it out.
And look for Colorado to try Brett Hull one-on-one, as Hull has not been on the point for a while on the power play.
Be careful here.
DeVries lofting it into the Red Wing zone. A minute gone in the Blake Minor. Lidstrom, who tallied his 100th Stanley Cup playoff point on Monday night. Chelios fires it around. Now Datsuk is out. Second power play unit. Here's Duchesne. Shot off the goalpost. Steve Duchesne off the pipe. As the Red Wings come close. Back out Chelios. And Duchesne again. Sakic watching him. A pass across out of the reach of Robitaille. Robitaille will get it back. Tries to get it to Chelios, and it deflects over the glass into the seats.
There are many reasons why Chris Chelios is a great player, but one of them is that he is able to make decisions in a hurry and then make terrific passes afterwards. This pass by Chelios, he makes the decision right away. Boom, right across, and that leaves the point shot for Duchesne wide open, and this just rattles right off the point. Patrick Roy is beat. He doesn't get out of the blue paint nearly enough because of Chelios' quick pass. And that leaves Roy a little unsettled, and that's why the puck hit the post from well out on that Duchesne shot.
26 seconds remaining in the power play. Face-off won by the Avalanche, but the puck deflects into the crowd once again.
So a very good start so far for Detroit here. As they've slowed the game down, they're into their checking mode, and the crowd is out of it at the moment. And let's not forget, with this altitude, most teams that come in here want to keep their shifts quick, in a hurry, because it's very hard to breathe early until you get used to it. It was interesting, though. Steve Reinprecht was telling me that it's the same for their team, Colorado, when they've been away a few days. It takes them a couple of shifts to get going as well, get used to the thin air here in Colorado.
Avalanche controlled another draw, got it down the ice, and a dozen seconds remaining in the Blake penalty as Fedorov got to the line, stopped, and put three teammates offside, and Messier intercepted the pass and turns them back. So a good first penalty kill by the Avalanche. No shots, one post for Detroit on the power play. First goal so important for both teams in these playoffs. Red Wings 7-1 when they've scored first. Robitaille couldn't pull the trigger, and back comes Hayduk along with Sakic. A puck thrown into the slot, and it was Lidstrom there to pick it off. Looking rink wide, pass did arrive, and McCarty unable to come up with it. Now Olesen, he'll send it in. Blake back to get it. 8:08 left in the scoreless first period in Game 3. Now they battle in the corner. Puck comes loose. McCarty after it against DeVries. Now off the glass and out. Colorado 8-2 when they've scored first. Red Wings have played from behind much of this series. 5 Colorado leads. Detroit would like to get in front. I know Brendan Shanahan was saying we play so much better from the lead. But here's Drury working in, across, and Reinprecht couldn't reach it. Good play defensively coming back by Datsuk.
Terrific play.
Now Forsberg trying to twist away from Fisher. Fisher on him. Forsberg still with it.
It's the match that Scotty Bowman doesn't want. Fisher against Forsberg.
But give the kid credit that time. Wouldn't let Forsberg out of the corner. Bowman told us he's young, but he won't get rattled. Skating well, and that he didn't lose his confidence. Here's Devereaux. Over skating the puck in behind the net now, centers. And he couldn't hook up with Yzerman all the way back into the Detroit zone. Dandino back to set it up. Yzerman, Shanahan, and Williams. Jason Williams seeing his most ice time in this series with a larger offensive responsibility. And there he is, 29. Yzerman knocked down away from the puck as they continue to work him over.
Kelly Rudy made a good point in our pregame show about that.
Sore knee, sore shoulder.
And the Avs are keying on him, believe me. Heads up here, heads up here!
Here's Dandino dumping it back. 6:06 remaining. In a fast-paced first. Sakic starts the play. And now it's Tanguay with goals in each of these games. Couldn't get loose in the Detroit zone. And now Fedorov will wind up and skate back. Cross ice pass, Olsen into the zone, towards the net. Patrick Waugh, Fedorov on it, spins, shoots into the glove of Waugh, who grabbed it with Holmstrom on the doorstep.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
If not, you don't know what you're missing. Test drive any new Ford and you could scratch and win one of 25 Ford Mustang GT convertibles. Or up to $1,000 in dealer gift certificates. Over $5 million in prizes available to be won. There's never been a better time to buy. Catch the excitement during Ford's $5 million Test Drive Challenge.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Vector, fuel up.
Building a new home or remodeling an old one, come to the Lighting Boutique to make those difficult decisions easy. From outdoor coach lights to indoor fixtures and fans, including the largest display of chandeliers in southwestern Ontario. One stop at the Lighting Boutique is all it takes. And we can help with that new kitchen as well, with our gigantic showroom of brand name major appliances. The Lighting Boutique, helping you make those difficult decisions easy.
Patrick Waugh was named a first star by some in Game 2, highly criticized by others. And you asked Bob Hartley if he talked to Patrick about his play after the second game.
And I got the impression that Bob Hartley just leaves him alone, as he should. You don't want to say too much to your franchise goalie. He did say, however, a funny thing. He said, I didn't know what Rob Blake was doing. You know, Blakey should have just gone for the net. Because anytime Patrick has the puck out of the net, you got to be careful and back him up.
Well, that was that clearing attempt to center picked off by Maltby. Patrick Waugh leads the Avalanche in giveaways in these playoffs with 29. But he looks like he's on his game tonight. Away goes Hayduk into Detroit territory. Hayduk for the shot, and Hasek just held the short side. Looked like Hayduk surprised him with that shot.
Hasek does cheat to the middle and try to anticipate centering passes.
Here's Hayduk again, trying to dish it back to Tanguay, and that was intercepted. Now McCarty couldn't get it deep, and Adam Foote takes over. Here's Foote, nearly lost it, did. Draper now. Long shot bouncing in, knocked down for Breeze. Go along with Chelios, leads defenseman in scoring in these playoffs with 11 points. And Greg DeVries has got it, and he'll lead the Avalanche rush. Into Detroit ice, he's hit. Now Heinote taken down, and we'll get a penalty as Heinote is upended.
So what do you think of Subway's sweet onion chicken teriyaki?
Just 6 grams of fat.
Marinated chicken teriyaki topped with a sweet onion sauce, one of Subway's 2 new tastes.
This is good. Hard to believe it's just 6 grams of fat.
Thank you, whoever you are. You're welcome, whoever you are.
Subway, eat fresh!
Face it, kids are simply priceless. Which is why kids stay free at Best Westerns worldwide. Best Western, the world's largest hotel chain. Call 1-800-WESTERN.
From the director of Memento.
I think I found something!
A cop who needs to know.
No mutilation.
Not this time. A killer who knows too much.
Killing changes you. There's no turning back.
And a dangerous secret.
Where is she, Finch? Go, go!
Neither can escape.
I told you 10 minutes to beat Kate Connell to death. You only know it because I told you.
Al Pacino, Robin Williams, Hilary Swank. Insomnia.
Starts Friday, May 24.
You know, it's not easy being Mr. Hockey. What with all the travel and personal appearances. Glad there's Ford Windstar from my Metro Detroit Ford dealers. Plenty of comfort and room for all Mr. Hockey stuff.
Current AZD plan lessees can lease Windstar SE for only $319 a month with $1669 to its signing. $319 a month for a well-equipped Windstar.
Ford Windstar with a 5-star safety rating. Now we never worry about our biggest fans.
Oh, Grandpa!
Well, yet another interference call. We've seen a lot of them the last couple of games as Draper hauls down high note before anybody came to the puck that was in the corner. So, power play opportunity with 4:32 to go, and the Avalanche obviously have been unbelievable in this department so far in this series.
Avalanche 3 for 10, and they win the face-off with the puck splits the point men, Forsberg and Blake. Drury's up front with Tanguay and Sakic. Puck fired in by Blake, who missed a power play in Game 2 as he was being attended to either equipment-wise or injury-wise. Forsberg off the boards. Now Sakic, shot, scores! Tipped in front!
Full Hasek on the way in. And good movement by the Avalanche. A harmless looking shot in front, and was it tipped or not? I believe Blake at the top of your screen was the man that tipped the puck. So Blake coming in the high slot was able just to get a piece of the puck and tip it by Dominic Hasek. Couple of things for the Avalanche. Number one, they win the draw. They gain puck possession. And then number two, they just use their points. And somehow Detroit has to get more pressure on the point shooters when they're killing penalties.
Scotty Bowman's worst feeder. Colorado power play, and they get another chance. And a delayed offside, I believe. But his worst fear was giving that dangerous power play too many chances, and they score their 4th power play goal.
And Detroit with a perfect period. There's the Sakic shot right there as Blake gets enough of it to redirect it up over top of Dominic Hasek, who was playing the low shot. And, you know, I love Sakic's shot from the point. He never tries to blast it. He just tries to filter it through. And he always hits the net. And that's why Blake was able to get a piece of it, because it wasn't a hard blast. It was a shot just going towards the net that he was able to get a stick on because of that.
So Rob Blake has his 6th of the postseason. Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg assist on the goal at 15:54. So Forsberg adds to his totals 24 playoff points, which matches a career high. Olsen around, kicked in Colorado. Kasparaitis' shot knocked down, and here's Hull. Over on the far side, Devereaux off the blocker of Waugh. Devereaux knocked down Blake. Here's a puck in front, and the shot doesn't get through. Drury can't clear. Lidstrom shooting it, and that ends up in the corner. Now the Red Wings hemming in the Forsberg line. Datsuk tries to get it in front. Kasparaitis blocked it. Datsuk again. Hull shot off a leg, and out breaks Forsberg. And Reinprecht at the end of a shift. And Forsberg gets it deep. 3:03 to go here in the first. Avalanche with the lead. Olsen gives way. Big Fisher sends it around. Better off. Couldn't corral it off the boards. Foot plays it ahead for Hayduk. Hayduk and knifed out by DeVries to center. Fisher to Forsberg, a cross-ice pass, knocked down by DeVries. Here's Hayduk into Detroit territory, centering it. Now Foot after it on the far side, throws it to the net, knocked down by Fisher. Up for Fedorov, and a penalty behind the play. It negates a break for Detroit and gives Colorado another power play.
And Holmstrom gets caught for interference and then does a little extra damage afterwards. And it was off the rush, and there's no doubt about this call here. Coming up there is the penalty, and then a little more afterwards. A couple of shots to foot. At that point, Holmstrom was already caught for interference. So he's going to get 4 minutes. 2 minutes for the initial call. That was interference, and then a roughing call afterwards for continuing on. And that's a poor decision by Thomas Holmstrom. Particularly after we watched the Avalanche already score a power play goal in this period.
Well, it's bedlam in this building.
Scotty Bowman at the moment giving it to Schick from the bench.
Avalanche looking for their first 2-goal lead of the series. Here's Hull. And remember, Detroit with 5 shorthanded goals to lead in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But they've got to worry about preventing more Colorado power play damage. Forsberg to second. Cross for Blake. There's Tangay. Taken to the boards by Lidstrom. Now he's got it back again. Murray and Forsberg work the boards. Get it to Tangay. Sakic cheated in, but it's picked off and cleared by the Red Wings.
Let's see if Detroit pays a little more attention to the point shots coming from Colorado here. Of course, the Avalanche have so many different options. If you take one away, they use another one.
Bowman talking prior to Game 2 about the fact that they have so many plays that revolve around both Blake and Sakic, unlike many teams who focus on one shooter. Here's a chance. Heino spun it wide. And Heino, a rare power play chance. Hayden in front. Can't jam it. Heino's up there with Hayden and Reinbrecht, Foot, and Skula. Final minute of his first period. And Maltby gets it all there. 25! Adam Foote works it ahead. Sakic back on the ice with Forsberg. Skula turns back. Half-minute left in the period. Forsberg to Drury. Drops it off. Blake fires. That went off Fisher wide. Fedorov up for Shanahan. Shanahan trying to get it by DeVries. Davidoff followed up and shot it wide. 15 seconds left in the period. Forsberg moving ahead. Dying seconds. In front. DeVries taken down. No call. Now Sakic. Back out. Foot shot off the blocker of Hasek as the horn sounds to end the period. Shots 9-7 in favor of Detroit. Coming up behind the mask in our first intermission as Kelly Rudy chats with Scott Russell. 1 goal to report, a power play marker. Rob Blake 6 from Sakic and Forsberg. 1-0 Avalanche after 1.
They're all so beautiful.
Oh, what about that one back there?
Oh, it's stunning.
Could we look at that one, please?
I love it.
How much is it?
It's $1.49.
We'll take 2.
There's nothing like fresh strawberries, like the plump red juicy ones on our Tim Hortons strawberry tart. Just $1.49 each. Or try our new strawberry sensation muffin. Which strawberry will you pick?
It's the best-selling line of pickup trucks in Canada. truck in the U.S. In fact, F-Series is the best-selling truck in the world. If you're not driving the truck more people in the world depend on, maybe it's time you did.
When the clothing arrives for the new season, it's always exciting for me. You see, I do windows. This year, there's a great selection of cotton pants, shorts, windbreakers, and knit shirts. My job is to make sure you look when you walk by. Sometimes I'll even stand there myself, just to see if you're paying attention. I love that part.
Seasonal fashions, now at Moore's. Well-made, well-priced, well-dressed. Moore's.
She's going to send a message. You ready?
Yes.
To the man who wants to own her life. I refuse to live without you. On May 24th.
Cops can't help you. No one can. He's going to keep on coming until he kills you.
Everyone, so how do you win, has a limit.
I attack.
You have a right to protect your own life and the life of your offspring.
Scared?
You have the guts. Enough. In theaters May 24th.
It's about moving forward and not looking back. It's about designing the next generation of lawn tractors that not only cuts your lawn, but cuts it faster. The John Deere SST lawn tractor with spin steer technology. The only one to come with the technology to spin in place just by turning the wheel. The technology is so advanced, it actually cuts time.
You can now own a piece of Hockey Night in Canada. Log on to cbc.ca, follow the links to HNIC merchandise to order, or find a retail location near you. Own a piece of the tradition. Hockey Night in Canada merchandise on the web now.
Simple. Okay. We have not had a period without scoring in this Western Conference Final. 1-0 for the Avs, courtesy of a power play goal from Rob Blake, his 6th. Tell us about the start here. It looks like they tried to slow you down a little bit, and then you got rolling.
Yeah, we came out and, they were on us pretty good there through the neutral zone in our zone, and then, fortunately we got a power play opportunity, capitalized, and, we got another big one here at the start of this period.
I know you've been laying it on some of the wings in this series. Do you think that's a key, that you continue to be physical with them over the long haul?
Well, I just think down the stretch in the playoffs, you have to be physical on everyone, and they're going to do it to us and so forth, and in the other series is the same way, but come this time of the year, you don't pass up too many hits.
Rob, thanks for this and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Rob Blake of the Colorado Avalanche. It is 1-0 after one period of play here at the Pepsi Center as the Avs lead the Red Wings in Game 3 of the Western Conference Final.
This room could use some new paint.
Yeah, I can do that.
How about rust? No, a pure red with a faux finish. Ooh, and that dry brush technique. Maybe a honey undertone.
How do I do that? It's easy. Let's start over here. She said something about dry brush. That's dragging. And actually, there's a seminar tomorrow. Why don't you come out?
And you're going to drag, and you're going to weave. You've got it now. That's great.
It's beautiful.
It was easy. I feel very fortunate to be in this line of work.
Dr. Christopher Cole of the Cole Clinic for Hair Transplants.
I can't think of any other area of medicine that I've been in where I've received such positive feedback from my patients.
Dr. Cole is the fellow that, from start to end, I dealt with there at the clinic.
He's not only a good surgeon, but he's a good friend. He's a good person to be around.
They treated me like a king in there. Made everything convenient.
Take advantage of the favorable U.S. exchange. Contact Dr. Cole and his team today.
Fresh, lean, and tender has been the tradition at Shinkle's Meat Market in beautiful downtown Essex for 40 years. Barbecue time is here. Just look at these steaks, pork chops, ribs, and chicken. Beef, pork, and chicken kebabs are made daily. Shinkle's has award-winning lunch meats, ham, and bacon. Also a large selection of domestic and imported cheeses. That's at Shinkle's Meat Market in beautiful downtown Essex near the tracks.
You've probably joined clubs before. You've probably enjoyed great benefits. But there's one club that gives you more. Casino Windsor's Players Prestige Club. The club that gives you cash back and so much more. Casino Windsor. Absolutely more of what you're looking for.
Barbecues are almost a weekly occurrence. I have 11 brothers and sisters, and we all live really close to each other and like to get together.
When we've got this many barbecues going, we all do our own thing.
Lance and Will are the two that really, you don't touch their barbecues.
I would have to say I would be the best cook here. Well, the better barbecuer is me. Beginning of the season, we go to Walmart to buy our barbecue stuff.
It's just a matter of going in, everything is there.
No, don't touch. Fine, fine. Part of the reason why I like being the barbecuer, you get to try the food first.
Behind the Mask with Kelly Rudy.
Yes, we are in the Mile High City. Altitude, as Greg Millen thought, could be a problem for both teams. When you went on your 10-mile run today, did you think it was...
I tried to keep up with you.
No, but
that's
I mean,
impossible.
Is that a factor? Could it be a factor?
I always say it is a factor, and I know I read an article by a sports writer following the series, and he says that it's impossible to be a factor, and he doesn't believe in it. And I tell you what, I was a player, and I know coming in this city, it's a huge factor. In fact, Scott, when I trained in Calgary in the summer, when I was still playing, and I'd go back to Los Angeles, I was usually a little bit ahead of everybody else because of training in Calgary with the altitude.
But it doesn't carry over because you were sucking wind when I left you in my desk.
No, I just didn't want to run with you.
Martin Skula, defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche, hasn't played as much in these playoffs as he has in years past, but he's a young guy with a big upside.
With a big upside, exactly. But I want to show a play here how he's really learning the game. Now there's Skula. His defense partner is Muir. Muir's going to get the puck and come behind his own net. And so Skula, wisely, is just going to peel off onto this side and give him an option. Now he's going to have to change his mind because I'm going to show how Hall is now going to be the centerman on this play. Now he's going to come in and take the puck from Muir. So sensing that both Hall and Skula will be on the same side, now Skula decides he better go over here and give both of those guys another option. There goes Skula, and now the puck goes back to Hall, but that's a good play by Skula. And a play like that, at only 21 years old, tells me that he has a huge understanding of the game. And I wanted to talk to you about Skula for a minute, because I was wondering, and I asked Eric Lacroix, is Skula in the same position as Avalanche? Because he's a little bit dangerous at times, and Colorado got rid of him because he just wasn't fitting in. And I'm wondering now, is Skula the same? And Eric Lacroix told me no, not a chance. Only 21 years old. He has a long way to go, and they still believe in him.
Interesting story, isn't it, Eric Lacroix, too, a former teammate of yours, a former player.
And I trust him.
Yeah, and Joey Koser, who's a former player with the Red Wings, both now video coaching. I mean, that's interesting to me.
Isn't that smart, though?
Yeah.
Have guys that know the game and have played and they know what the wars are like. Why don't you get them in the video room?
Okay, and watch plays like this, because I know I keep coming back to this, but to me it's very interesting. Patrick Waugh wanders from the net, and when he moves the puck, he's sort of a scary individual. Asked Peter Forsberg about it at the end of the last game, and he says, oh, that's just Patrick. What do you think?
Well, and we asked Ken Holland that same question. So here's a play by the Red Wings. There's Lidstrom. He's going to dump the puck into the corner to the right of Patrick. Now let's take a look what Waugh does on this play. This is what I'd rather see Waugh do whenever the puck's dumped into his zone. Now there's DeVries, his defenseman, and Waugh, instead of doing something dangerous maybe over here or somewhere else, gently now, he's just going to throw the puck over here. Now DeVries reads that, and this is killing a penalty, by the way. There it is, up the glass and out of the zone. So I'd like to see Patrick do a little bit more of that. And I know he probably disagrees because he's a risk taker, and that's probably why he has so much success. But on a play like that, I just believe a little bit safer is the way to go.
And so we make a tie here, and this applies to defensemen, that perhaps it's the KISS rule, keep it simple, stupid. The easiest play might be the best one.
Usually in a playoff game, and feeling it out in the first period. So I have a clip by Fisher, I believe. Now, this is going to be a little bit harder to see, but there's Fisher, the defenseman in the background, and the puck's going to come to him, and he's going to sort of slide over in this direction, and he's not going to have a lot of options, but he is going to have one that I'd like to see him use. Now, the play's developing right here. Now, here's Devereaux, and I'd like to see Fisher at some point just nicely give him the puck here, and with Devereaux's speed he can use, but for some reason he feels he's going to try and go all the way across the ice through 3 Colorado Avalanche players. Now, there are the 3 players. There it is, intercepted. Now, in fairness, if he is going to try that play, and I know a lot of defensemen do, flip it up over everybody, because then it's less dangerous and there's a chance that the player can skate into it. But don't try and go right along the ice or even waist high, because it's going to get intercepted.
Still, Fisher, a guy with a lot of potential for the Red Wings. Take you away from the series for a little bit, but we saw Andy Moog in that first series, who was the goaltending consultant with the Vancouver Canucks, and he really settled down Dan Cloutier in the net. But Andy Moog now goes to the Dallas Stars as a goaltending coach consultant. What do you make of that?
Puzzling. Yeah, it's puzzling to me, because he's done so much for the Canucks. I know Andy lives in Dallas, and he's a great pickup for Dallas, but he's done so much for Vancouver. I would just wonder why they couldn't find a way to get him. Maybe they offered him something, but Andy didn't want to come back to Vancouver. But that's a guy that I'd love to have in my organization. I know Vancouver, they really enjoyed him, and their goaltenders have really improved with him, but there's maybe, I can only think, he just wants to go back to Dallas.
Would that mean Balfour, do you think, would stay there? There's a lot of talk about Philadelphia.
Well, I don't know. The one great thing about Andy Moog, what he's done a great job with Cloutier, is settling him down. Maybe he can do the same for Balfour. Maybe they're looking in a different direction. I don't know. But I like Andy so much. I know he's going to help Dallas, but geez, I wish he could stay in Vancouver.
Interesting indeed. Andy Moog to the Dallas Stars. Here, it is a 1-0 for the Colorado Avalanche over the Detroit Red Wings. The goal is by Rob Blake. There's a good one in net. Patrick Waugh, that one goes on the post. 1-0 Colorado as we return on Hockey Night in Canada.
Playoff Performers, brought to you by Ford of Canada, Canada's #1 choice.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
If not, you don't know what you're missing. Test drive any new Ford and you could scratch and win one of 25 Ford Mustang GT convertibles. Or up to $1,000 in dealer gift certificates. Over $5 million in prizes available to be won. There's never been a better time to buy. Catch the excitement during Ford's $5 million Test Drive Challenge.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
The playoffs can be a time of inspiration. This season, no player embodied that more than the captain of the Canadiens, Saku Koivu. The 27-year-old Finn shockingly found out he had cancer late summer. Koivu's prospects for the season, his career, indeed his life, were not bright. But the captain's courage and determination brought him back to the ice late March. The cancer in remission, his health miraculously restored, Koivu reappeared to play on April 9th against Ottawa. The Canadiens captain to the aid of a team desperate to make the playoffs. Against Carolina, number 11 showed he was ready to play and to lead, scoring at the pace he once knew. Saku Koivu was no easy touch. He went to battle, and in spite of the Canadiens' second-round elimination, was victorious. Saku Koivu, a playoff performer who inspired us all.
Playoff Performers, brought to you by Ford of Canada, Canada's #1 choice.
My lawn is really my pride and joy. I know it's weed-free. I know it's dandelion-free. I know that for a fact because I hate dandelions. But every time I'm out here working on it, my neighbor Lana says, how do you get rid of your dandelions? I do it by using Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. The light granule sticks to that wet leaf much easier than a heavy granule, which would fall off. If it doesn't stick, it just doesn't work. Apply it, sticks to the leaf, Zappo. No more dandelions. Actually, to tell you the truth, she's trying to keep up with me. Uh-oh, I think she heard me. I think it's the greatest product ever made.
Long ago, when the gift of fire came to Earth, the first keepers of the flame emerged. They were the ones who nurtured it and preserved it, and they passed this learning along. And so, the tradition continues. The flame burns on, at least for another 10,000 years. Char-Broil, keepers of the flame.
Palazzi brings you top-quality pre-finished hardwood floors. We have the choices you're looking for, including companies like Mirage. Select the floor that suits your home from 6 different types of wood in 16 different colors. The warmth and beauty of your hardwood floor is guaranteed to last with a 25-year residential manufacturer's warranty. And don't forget to see our full line of carpets, including wool, sisal, and Berbers. Palazzi, a 40-year tradition of offering you fine products at affordable prices. Palazzi, the place for hardwood and carpet flooring.
One more reason why he's the #1 innovator in LASIK surgery and has stepped into the future of laser eye correction. Dr. Tafor at the Windsor Laser Eye Institute now introduces the new Later Vision 4000 Total Eye Tracking System, combining the most experienced eye surgeon with the latest in laser technology. Call Dr. Tafor at the Windsor Laser Eye Institute and restore your vision safely and confidently. The Windsor Laser Eye Institute, focusing on the future and you.
If you're in the market for new windows, you'll never get a better deal than right now. It's Wallside's Price Rollback Sale. You'll get Wallside's factory direct price from $19.99. Plus, for 1 week only, an extra $100 off when you present this coupon. Find it in this week's ShopWise. Ask your salesperson or go to wallside.com. We'll even include free argon gas and no payments till September. $19.99 prices. Free argon gas, plus an extra $100 off. Sale ends Saturday. Call 1-800-521-7800.
This portion of Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Ford of Canada, Canada's #1 choice.
Welcome back to the Mile High City. We're in Denver, Colorado, Game 3 of the Western Conference Final. It's 1-0 after 20 minutes. For the 4th time in this series, the Avalanche click on the power play, a deflection by Rob Blake.
And after Detroit played very well throughout the first period of play, but they get a late penalty, and that helps out the Avalanche's cause as Blake tips it in on a Joe Sakic shot from the point on the power play.
His 20th goal in Stanley Cup playoff action. And Rob Blake also blocked 3 shots in that first period. There's Thomas Holmstrom, who took the double minor late in the period. A minute 39 remaining in his double minor.
On fresh ice for this very good Colorado power play. So they'll move it around in a hurry with this fresh ice here to start the second period of playoff.
4 forwards and Rob Blake, Sakic, Drury, Tanguay, Forsberg. Also out with the man advantage, and it'll be Blake to start the play. Drury one-times it for Sakic, and in he comes. Sakic looked like he was going to split the D, and that good stick of Nick Lidstrom we've talked about throughout the postseason turns the Avalanche back.
Lidstrom says he really worries about Sakic all the time because of his terrific change of pace. He only needs 1 step and he can take off on it.
There's Blake, a long searching pass for Sakic. Now it's chopped to the line, Tanguay, and Forsberg to set it up. Sakic retrieved his stick. Here's Forsberg behind the net, throwing it across. Now Drury on the other side. Plays it in behind the net. Forsberg fell, and his centering pass picked off and cleared by Hull. 40 seconds remaining in Holmstrom's penalties. Hideout. Gets it to Hayduk. Hayduk, pounded by Draper, turns it over, and Fisher turns the Avalanche back. Adam Foote. After let it goes, Ryan Prep sends it in. Hasek couldn't stop it. It comes to Hayduk. Foote returns the pass. Milan Hayduk. Now Foote with the shot, and it went wide. Draper sprawled to block that. School on this power play. Kelly talked about him. 10 goals during the regular season. Now the penalty over. Holmstrom back. Here's a centering pass knocked away by Draper. So the Red Wings escape further damage after the double minor to Holmstrom and just 2 shots for the Avalanche power play. Have been held by Colorado in this series, and 5 times Detroit answered back. The only one they couldn't answer back was the overtime goal by Drury in Game 2. They'll try to answer here, but a chance, and a shot high over the shoulder of Hasek. DeVries laying it back at center ice. And now Eric Messier. Can't barge through. Shanahan. Brendan Shanahan on a 4-game point streak, but without a goal in this series. There's Fedorov over the line, firing it to net head. Waugh ducking. Fedorov without a goal in his last 8 games. He has it again. Puts it in front. Hull was tied up by DeVries. Red Wings in the midst of a change. And Chelios backpedals And Keane, who is chasing him, goes to the bench. Chelios ahead. Now Duchesne plays it deep. Devereaux was held back by Blake. And the puck right to center. And they hit somebody at the Detroit bench to stop play.
Now Harry Fisher got clipped on his last shift. I believe it was Haydu. Got him with the stick. And we'll have a look at it. Haydu on the wraparound. Now this is a follow through, and that's why it is not a penalty. I'm trying to tell Fisher that right now, though. He'll be ready to go for the next shift. And I know whose job on the power play is to get in front of the net. Takes a little abuse doing it on that last shift.
So the face-off at center, and now Heinold going to the bench. He may need some attention after that high stick. Drawing a little blood, enough to get him sent back to clean it up. What a competitor he is. Heinold is one of the energy guys for the Avalanche. You know, in one stretch this year, Greg, he drew penalties by the opposing players in 16 consecutive games. So that's how he can get under the skin of the opponents.
Now, we've been telling you all period. I wanted to get this in the first period, but we just didn't have any time. But Scotty Bowman had to change his matchups on defense, and because Forsberg was going against Fisher every time. Here's the first example. Forsberg head-to-head against Fisher. Now don't forget, Forsberg is starting from this side. Here he goes. Stop it, guys. He'll go right across. There he is, so he can key on Fisher. Go. And here comes Forsberg. One-on-one on Fisher, and a good chance to score for Colorado. That happened time and time again in Game 2. So Scotty Bowman knew that and had to change up and put Lindstrom and Olsen against Fisher. Or pardon me, against Forsberg, and then switch Fisher and Chelios against Sakic-Klein. That's what we've seen so far this game.
Quick change there as Chelios and Fisher come back on the ice. That time he had Duchesne and Dandino out. And Scotty Bowman didn't like that matchup with Forsberg. Here's Drury, barging in and a shot. Steered away by Hatchet. Oh, off the boards up ahead, did not suit. Behind the play, Chelios roughing up Drury. That got a reaction from the crowd. Right, but hand on that. And it ends up in the glove of Patrick Roy.
Whoa. What was he thinking?
I wonder if anybody saw that.
Introducing a vehicle designed for your adventures in reality. The all-new, more powerful CR-V from Honda.
Back to the Pepsi Center in Denver. And a face-off in the Colorado zone. Draper and Yell dueling on this draw. And it's right back to goaltender Roy. Break the breeze. The right side. Keane was checked. Maltby. Back in for Detroit. Maltby, McCarty, and Draper. Knocked down by Maltby. Here's McCarty, a shot. That went off to Breeze wide. Big chance for the grind line. There's McCarty behind the net. Got it to Maltby. Maltby trying to throw it towards the net. Knocked down by Yells. Got it again. Tries to center. Bouncing in front. Dandino moved up. And the Avalanche move it out. Dandino, that good speeding defense, is getting back. And playing it to his partner Duchesne. Here's McCarty firing it in. Off target. Robitaille on the far side. He couldn't come up with it. And Tanguay over to Skula. And Martin Skula into the Detroit zone. Shot it wide. And it comes all the way back out to center. Approaching the 5-minute mark of this second period. Avalanche enjoying a 1-0 lead in Game 3. Here's Sakic causing the turnover, but Fisher breaks it up. Luke Robitaille trying to get untracked offensively. Now Fisher, the 21-year-old defenseman. Wide of the net, look
Chelios is trying to play an easy, conservative play. And maybe he just doesn't know how to do that because he almost got burnt trying to do the right thing. Just leave it for his defenseman. So the Avalanche on their heels here. Holmstrom picks it up in the corner. Williams goes to the front of the net, and the puck is sent back out. Hasek, seeing the change, quickly moved it to Jason Williams. A cross-ice pass, unable to hook up with Yzerman. And it's cleared off the stick of Drury and out. Duchesne. Now broken up by Drury. He's up by Duchesne. Forsberg's got it. And he'll flip it past Chelios into the far corner. Chelios gets it out. So again, you've got the matchup. Let's see if Forsberg plays against Fisher once again. Although Lidstrom now comes out. Lidstrom now joining Chelios. Here's Forsberg on the attack, and it's swept away by Hasek. Scotty Bowman doesn't want any part of that, Chris. Every time Forsberg's on the ice, Fisher comes off.
And now Lidstrom to the attack and unable to split the defense. He's taken down by Kasparaitis, and a penalty coming up. Kasparaitis pleads innocence, but it's a Detroit power play when we come back.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sand and watches the ship.
One of the bottles fell in.
Nice one.
I guess I'll get it. It's gonna be cold in there, man. Oh, baby won his bottle. How bad can it be?
We can't grow hair on a billiard ball, but we can make baldness a thing of the past. I'm Dr. Christopher Cole. If hair loss bothers you, investigate my micro and mini grafting technique. Your own perfectly natural-looking growing hair. Look good and feel great. Wash it, cut it, perm it, dye it. Style your restored hair any way you want.
Take advantage of the favorable U.S. exchange rate. Just 20 minutes from the bridge or tunnel. For your personal consultation, call Dr. Cole.
At Bell Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest out-the-door prices every day. Plus, free mounting, balancing, you know. But now, out-the-door pricing is even more incredible with another free extra. Buy 4 tires and get something really big. A AAA Michigan membership free for a whole year. Already a member? Show your card at Bell Tire and save even more. Hey, this may be tiny. It's a really big deal. For the best prices, the best service, and a little something extra.
Bell Tire.
Nicholas Lidstrom jumps up into the play, and we haven't seen this a lot from him so far in this series. And look what happens when he does. Kasparaitis tackles him down, and a power play now for Detroit, and Kasper saying, come on, what are you talking about? Oh, there he is. That was the 2-minute penalty.
And the Red Wings go to the power play, win the faceoff in the Colorado zone. Hull at the point. There's Fedorov. Holmstrom's out there too. After the puck, but the Red Wings clear.
And let's see here if Colorado try Brett Hull one-on-one if they get a chance, because Hull is playing the point here as a forward.
Hull leads them to center and shoots it in, deflected way up into the seats.
Chat with Mike Keane about penalty killing this morning, as the Avalanche have had pretty good success so far against Detroit. And he made a good point to me. He said, anytime you play a good power play, you have to make sure your attention to detail is bang on. What does he mean by that? Well, if you have a chance to shoot it all the way down the ice, you fire it all the way down, not halfway. If you get a chance to put your stick into a passing lane, you make sure you do it. If you get a chance to win a battle on the boards, you got to win them. And so far, Colorado have been doing that, killing penalties.
Up against his old teammate Brett Hull on this Detroit power play. Hull, the all-time leader in playoff power play goals with 37. Here's Fedorov. Sending it across. Holmstrom chasing after it against Yell. Yzerman's got it. Back to Hull. Across for Lidstrom. Now back. Hull to Fedorov. On the outside so far. And here's a chance for Keane and Blake to get it out. Lead for Keane, and it was broken up, and that time they didn't get it all the way down. Robitaille back in. Now Brendan Shanahan. Shot knocked down by Blake. Lidstrom at the point. 45 seconds left in this Detroit power play. Shanahan fanned on it. Brendan Shanahan with 8 power play assists, but no goals on the power play yet in the postseason. Lidstrom to Hull. Here's a chance. He plays it back, and Hull whistled that shot, and Patrick kind of skied, I think, on that Hull blast. Now DeVries back in his own zone, and he spots room to get it deep.
Pretty play by Detroit that almost works. Brett Hull will be kicking himself. He doesn't get many wide open shots like that in a playoff game.
There's Datsuk back in. Now Shanahan upending high note. Penalized player returning. Olesen looks for McCarty. Back of the net. Now gives way. Datsuk pasted by high note. And high note going back to Datsuk again. Datsuk gave it up. Intercepted by Skula. And he rolls it down the ice. Delios back, and Messier gets a piece of him. There's Fisher playing it up. And the game on hero, McCarty. Up to Maltby, his shot. Up by Muir. Here's McCarty. Olesen jumping up. Frederick Olesen behind the net. And he's checked by Forsberg. Forsberg couldn't get loose. And Winnipeg native Brian Muir will wind up. Detroit on the change is Drury. Moves through center. Pass comes to Forsberg, to Drury. Run tucked in front. And the shot went wide and all the way around. Approaching the midway point of the second period. Still 1-0 Colorado on a power play goal by Blake at 15:54 of the first. Sakic over the line, and Tangay jumped in ahead of the play. You're watching Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Love That Blue.
We came here for the rivers and mountains. Penny's our gardener. She's blooming smart, naturally. Folks come in, we know what they need. Drop by for some advice. I'll show you how to tie a fly.
Choose from Skill's 9.6-volt drill kit. Or Jigsaw or Belt Sander, now only $69.97 each. From Trek, the Voyager 3, 7x7-foot, 3-person dome tent, now just $89.97. True value. Help is just around the corner.
Honey! Sweetie! Come with me.
Watch this.
Woo!
Swiffer Test 15. Vacuum cleaner or Swiffer?
Presentation of the hair stimulus in a hard-to-reach place for a vacuum cleaner.
Response positive. Subject traps hair and dust.
Conversion achieved.
Note electrostatic action. Smile reflex.
And disposal glory.
Swiffer, changing cleaning behavior.
And to clean everyday dirt and grime, look for Swiffer Wet.
But all with the best power play chance for the Detroit Red Wings. A nice give and go with Fedorov down low. Fedorov finds him in the one-timer. And I'm not sure if Waugh got a piece of that or just missed the net. But Hull doesn't get many of those, and he's still shaking his head in disbelief.
He's talking to himself. 1 goal in the first 12 playoff games and 6 in his last 8. And the only one of the marquee offensive players in Detroit to score in this series. So far, here's Shanahan trying to thread it through. Williams was in front. Dandino had moved up, and now he moves back to the point. Yzerman was covering for him. Sakic can't clear it. Hayduke does get it out to center. Now Sakic gets it ahead. There's Tangay dropping. DeVries walks in. Too far. Has it out of the net. And a sprawling defensive play. And it's Steve Yzerman to negate the scoring chance. Steve Duchesne
Well, Williams in the neutral zone tries to lunge at Peter Forsberg. And that is what caused all the problems defensively for Detroit. Let's see if we can keep an eye in the neutral zone here. Here it is right there. And that creates still a 2-on-2, but the late man isn't picked up. And here comes DeBreeze in. A good play by Hasek to make sure that he runs that room. Watch Hasek here. He'll challenge DeBreeze right out. And a nice hook on the back check by guess who? Steve Yzerman. Yzerman may not be able to get there because of his skating, but because of his smarts, he hooks on enough to make a fine defensive play.
Face off won by Drury. There's Olofsson up the boards. Holmstrom for Robitaille off his skate. It comes back to Robitaille at center. Robitaille tried to get it in, but at the end of the first attempt, he put the play offside. Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final. The Hurricanes with the overtime win last night to take the series lead. 7 o'clock, Game 4 tomorrow from the ACC with Bob and Harry, Ron McLean, Don Cherry, Scott Oak, and Game 4 in this series Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific.
What are you going to do for a couple of days around here?
You might just have to enjoy the sights of this beautiful area. Although the weather seems to be, the bad weather seems to have followed us around. Not today, but today's a game day. Usually weather's nice on game days. Here's Fedorov back to the point. Olofsson a blast, and I don't think Patrick Roy saw that.
This means more sleep for you.
We'll enjoy that comment as the puck is dumped in and Avalanche are on a chain. Lidstrom ahead, off Fedorov. Down the ice, Skula back to touch it. And an icing call against Detroit.
I love watching Patrick Roy. You know, we talked to Chris about yesterday when he said, look, I'm playing fine. There's nothing wrong with my game. And we all know that Patrick Roy gave away a couple of goals in Game 2. But that's what Patrick Roy is all about. He's so confident. And he never gets down or even thinks that he's having a bad game. And that, in my opinion, really helps him to rebound, as we've seen him do so many times throughout his career, because he keeps everything pretty even. In fact, he always keeps everything maybe perhaps on the upper end of the ledger by staying confident.
Was almost waiting for the media criticism after Game 2. Said, you guys are just trying to get into my kitchen. There's nothing wrong with my play. Here's Heino. Give and go, and Hasek had to be sharp, and Heino getting some extra attention from Maltby in front. As two of the disturbers on the ice eye each other.
A nice little give and go play, and you know, great teams like both these two teams are, that's why they're so successful. They don't hog the puck. For all young players, if you give the puck away, often you get it back. And that's what Heino does here, is he jumps right into the play, a little give and go. Instead of shooting, instead of trying to beat his check, he gives it away and then jumps right by Maltby and gets an excellent chance to score. And Maltby has to stay with him. You cannot let him go on that give and go.
Now Sakic's line comes back. I don't think we've seen as much of the fourth line for the Avalanche in this game. And that extra day off again, Bob Hartley said his big guns would get more ice. Chelios, a two-hander at Sakic that went uncalled. Everybody in the building saw that. The play allowed to continue. An icing call against the Avalanche. They'll let the fans give it to the officials.
Well, Sakic was tied up with Chelios, and then Chelios just took a two-hander on him. Let's have a look. Here's Sakic tugging onto Chelios. Schick looking right at it and doesn't call it. A break for the Detroit Red Wings. And right now, Chelios talking to Johnny Wharton, the medical trainer, and I wonder if Chris is having some problems as well. We'll have to keep an eye on Chelios.
Face-off controlled by Detroit. Olofsson sidesteps a man and fires right on
Boy, Patrick Roy in his zone so far in this game. He's making tough saves look easy.
He is well positioned. Now Hull back. Olsen up ahead to Datsuk. Devereaux on the left side. Datsuk working in the backhand wide. The rookie Datsuk with it behind the net, up against Craig DeVries. 7 minutes to play in the second period. Messier takes out Devereaux, but that's Datsuk doing some good work in the Colorado zone. Look at him twisting and giving DeVries fits, but DeVries stayed on it. And he'll fire it out.
The good news for Detroit, they're hanging around this game. They're still tied with 6 minutes to go in the second period. That's perfect if you're on the road in a playoff game.
Back to the point. There's Chelios shot, and that was deflected in front by Yzerman. And again, Waugh looking sharp as the puck ends up in the seats.
Yzerman with a little more bounce to his stride and seems to be a little better medically so far in this game. And Yzerman here just takes a shot at the puck and yes, gets enough of it, but the tip is far enough out and away from Patrick Roy that he's able to react and get his left hat on it. And Datsuk uses the old net play off the net and gets DeVries all tied up in a knot, but DeVries does a good job using his stick. Look at his stick here. Whoops, sorry guys, that's my fault. But the stick is out and right out all the time, and that's containment.
From the face-off, puck bounces over the stick of Chelios after the face-off win by Detroit. Now Drury hit by Fisher, who sends it to center. Yzerman there. Yzerman looks across, finds Shanahan. Long shot, easy glove stop. And we'll get another face-off in the Colorado zone.
Goldman here just continually trying to be rigid with his line changes. He's been a busy coach tonight. And he's done a lot more of that in this game than he has in the first two games. There is no doubt about it.
He talked about a better distribution in time for some of his star players. He noted Shanahan with 23 minutes in game 2, Robitaille only 10 minutes, and he said, I've got to even that up a little bit. Trying to find some way to ignite the Detroit offense against a Colorado team that led the league in goals against during the regular season. Here's Sakic. Blake hops up. A backhand is off the target. Cangade covering the point, unable to keep it in, and Blake comes back to get it. Asked Mike Keane this morning if he saw Colorado being that much tighter a team than they were in his last times in Colorado. First, Hayduk walks in. Hasek to stop. Big save by Dominic Hasek of Hayduk.
And an ugly change by the Red Wings.
Was it ever?
Brutal.
Now Fedorov, he gives it away. Sakic turns it up ice. Hayduk to the attack. Back to Sakic. And his hot shot is high. Well, we're seeing Colorado playing defensively tight, but Patrick Roy, or Mike Keane thought the biggest reason is, of course, Patrick Roy and how good he is and how good he was in the regular season. The biggest reason they led the league in goals against. Here's Fedorov over the line with Holmstrom. And that's broken up. Back come the Avs again to the attack with Reinprecht. Drury, shot, blocked. And Drury got another chance. Forsberg trying to twist away from Lidstrom, who knocks him down. Drury in after the puck for Reinprecht. Reinprecht trying to center, and Forsberg is able to clear it. Puck sent down the ice. Muir back to touch it. Icing the call.
Your latte, sir? Would you like some more foam?
Oh, yeah, sure thing.
And cinnamon?
Yeah, that's great.
Chocolate? Chocolatey.
All right, that's great, thank you.
Thermal sleeve. More foam?
Sure.
It's always nice getting more than you expect. Just like it is with the 2002 Buick Century Special Edition. With a host of unexpected standard features, you'll be surprised at how much luxury you get for so little. Buick Century, a Consumer's Digest Best Buy for the past 4 years.
Okay, guys, listen up.
Look, I just wanted to say a few things before you guys head out. It's a bit like a dream being here. But look, let's take a second. Think back to when we first got together. Now think about all you've learned. That's what matters. That's what you guys should feel great about. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. The only reason we're here tonight is to have as much fun as we have back at our own rink. Let's go get 'em, guys!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tintinets Hockey. Tinsport proudly supports minor hockey across Canada.
Closed captioning of this program has been brought to you by the all-new Chevy Avalanche. It's the ultimate utility vehicle.
4:21 remaining, second period. Dan Heinold taking the draw. And he's moved into the middle between Messier and Keane in place of Stefan Yell. Here's Eric Messier. He's knocked down by Fisher, stays with the puck. Keane, playing it back towards Heinold, couldn't center it. Now Mike Keane's got it. Keane for Heinold. Skula jumped up and he may get caught. Messier came back and Heinold breaking it. Looked like an odd man rush, and now Hasek. Sloppy play back of the net, and he has to pounce on the puck.
Just before our commercial break, Detroit Red Wings with a bad change. And this is the play that just happened as Hasek here has a little trouble behind the net, and he's smart to hold on to it. Now let's look at the bad change now, just before the commercial break. Chelios is going to go off along with 4 Red Wings. And that creates a 2-on-1. That's an awful change for Detroit. Hasek had to bail everyone out. Chelios has been on for 10 of 12 even strength shifts against Sakic. And that's why he was trying to get off there to make sure he was on against Sakic again. So when you go line for line, sometimes you can get burnt with your changes like the Red Wings did on that one.
5th odd man rush for Colorado in the game. Red Wings have yet to get one. They almost had one on that last shift, but Dan Heinold broke it up. Otherwise, there was a 2-on-1 going Detroit's way. But for the most part, it has been an airtight defensive effort by the Avalanche so far in Game 3.
By both teams, really. Very much a low-chance scoring game.
More like that Eastern Conference final game last night than the first 2 games of this series. Askaritis sweeps it around. He was asked after Game 2 if he was surprised at how wide open it was. He joked that Gary Bettman had called asking for better ratings, so they were going to trade chances throughout.
And Dave Moyer, our statistician, has the chances as 6-5 for Colorado. I bet you they're pretty close, because a couple of games ago he was bang on with one of the coaching staff. That's not bad, because they are everybody has a different stat for chances to score.
Chelios a shot off the side of the net, and Waugh stopping the rebound with a chance in front for Sergei Fedorov. And that's the scoring chance.
That is a scoring chance. Which means we're 6-6 now. Fedorov has not done much in this series, and one of the reasons why is he's not hanging around in front of the net. He does that time and gets rewarded for it. And some good work here as Patrick Waugh punches the puck right back into the slot. But again, Waugh's been very sharp as he's ready for the rebound attempt by Fedorov.
On this face-off with Sakic, he wins it. Back to Dandino, Duchesne shot, rebound, went right to Sakic. Fedorov, a little slow to get up. He looks like he's on the limp. Puck comes to him, and he'll play it deep. And Fedorov does go to the bench. He may have been shaken up, tangled up in the face-off circle. And now it's Mike Keane slow to get up, and it looks like he's been injured a bit. Keane stays out as the puck is sent, and now Keane goes to the bench. So in rapid fire, both Fedorov and Keane go to their respective benches to get attention. He's bodied on the plate, and the puck comes loose to Yzerman. Here's Lidstrom, a shot off a skate wide. Jason Williams tried to send it in deep for Shanahan, broken up by DeVries.
And Lidstrom jumping in way more in this game, so watch out for him.
Olsen looks to the near side. Captain Yzerman, past Larson. Now Williams takes the shot. Handled easily. Williams got his own rebound in the corner. Gets it to Shanahan. Out in front off the skate. And Larson rolling it to the line, but not out. Lidstrom again, it moved up deep. Here's Shanahan. Trying to come out in front. Olsen moves up. Williams, the tip, just went wide. Rebound. Waugh down. He's lost his stick. And the puck fired over the glass to relieve the Heat.
I like Williams on this line. It helps out Steve Yzerman a little bit because he can go on the wing with his bad leg. And not only that, but he's gifted offensively. He has a good shot. We're going to show you why he is so gifted here. A good redirect by Williams. The puck comes right back out in the slot. And look at Williams. He knocks it right out of the air. Patrick Waugh is swimming, but he swims the right way. And when in doubt, as a goaltender, you scramble. Waugh scrambles here, does a snow angel, and somehow keeps the puck out.
And there is Fedorov, who limped off after a face-off in the Colorado zone. Sakic and Draper. The Avalanche prevail. Blake played it out. Led by Chelios at center, away from Sakic. We're in the final minute of the second period. Tangate bumped by Maltby. Chelios looking for Maltby on the near side. Tangate right back at Maltby as the shooter. Here's McCarty. He's tied up by DeVries, and Sakic sends it to the line and out. And finally, play stopped. A high stick is the call. 17.3 seconds to go, and Sergei Fedorov, let's see, he's going to come back out in this final minute to try that leg. This is what happened.
Right off the draw, he's the center iceman. He goes down and then gets knocked down, and that's when he got up very slowly. DeVries was the player that got him. Yep. And his left leg, it looked like he was favoring his left leg a little bit on that play. So we'll see how he skates on his next shift. There he is on the wing.
Yzerman, Fedorov, and Shanahan, a rare shift for those three together. In this game, they played together in the first two. Here's a chance for Reinprecht for the point. Shot doesn't get through. Reinprecht with a backhand doesn't get to the net. And the horn sounds to end the second period.
And a good solid period for Detroit. They're hanging around on this in this game on the road. And defensively, they've been solid. Both teams, actually.
Certainly had the edge in play, the Red Wings did. 12-4 were the shots in the second period. However, just one goal to report. The power play marker by Rob Blake in the first period. And after 40 minutes, it remains 1-0 for the Avalanche.
Once you were dry. I made you juicy. You were weak. And I made you beefy. You were bland. I made you tasty. Lee and Barrett, the Burger Booster.
HP makes a bacon sandwich.
It's Comedy Friday on CBC, starting at 7 with back-to-back episodes of Mr. Bean, followed by The Red Green Show at 8. At 8:30, it's Made in Canada, and Just for Laughs at 9. It's Comedy Friday on CBC.
Welcome back to Denver. The goal by Rob Blake is standing up, 1-0 for the Avs of the Wings. Here's rookie Jason Williams of London, Ontario, getting a chance tonight between Steve Yzerman and Brendan Shanahan. What's that like for you?
Oh, it's a great feeling, and when we get out there, it seems that when we work hard down low, we're getting the scoring chances. So it seems to be working, and I'm just going to stick with it and keep working hard.
What is the game plan for the Wings? Are you trying to slow them down a little bit here at home?
Yeah, I think we get backside pressure on them, and it creates turnovers. It's going to generate some offense for us and work the puck down low.
I know it's hard to catch your breath in this altitude, but good luck to you, Jason. Thanks very much for this.
Thank you.
Jason Williams of the Detroit Red Wings, who trail right now 1-0 to the Colorado Avalanche after 40 minutes, is coming up. All the latest on the Toronto Maple Leafs situation with Mark Lee. Here's a shot by Steve Duchesne going in on Patrick Waugh. Doesn't get in. Still 1-0 Colorado as we continue on Hockey Night in Canada.
Imagine nature without any color. It's much better when you add all the shades of spring. Cedar, for example, or walnut, redwood, or even blue wood. Formulated for the Canadian climate by Canada's paint experts. The superior protection of wood shield stain comes in more than 1,000 colors, only at Home Hardware. Add more color to your great outdoors. Home Hardware. Health is close to home.
In the fight against evil,
Get me undercover, brother.
one man
What's going down?
is willing to do whatever it takes.
Would you like to be my friend?
That's White She-Devil.
Get him! This summer,
Come on, baby, come on!
pull up a chair.
Hey! Woo! Woo, baby!
Look at that.
Undercover Brothers. At theaters Friday, May 31st.
Come on, boys, big game time. Come on, we need to practice. What should we work on, Coach? Well, I'm glad you asked. Your shots. Hope you have lots of pucks. I got plenty. What do you mean our shots need work? Just fill the net. What's with the red pucks? Just fill the net. Be creative. Let's show them, boys. More pucks. Hey, throw me some of those red ones. When I said fill the net, I didn't think you could do it. Said be creative. Yeah.
Rascal Chrysler Jeep Amherstburg.
At Bell Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest out-the-door prices every day. Plus, free mounting, balancing, But now, out-the-door pricing is even more incredible with another free extra. Buy 4 tires and get something really big. A AAA Michigan membership free for a whole year. Already a member? Show your card at Bell Tire and save even more. Hey, this may be tiny. It's a really big deal. For the best prices, the best service, and a little something extra.
Bell Tire.
Sinbad's legendary Riverfront Restaurant and Saloon has been the place where family and friends come to satisfy vigorous appetites. Generous portions of lobster and seafood, black Angus steaks done to perfection. Try a man-sized sandwich or one of our Billy Buster burgers. Come by land or sea from Canada or the suburbs and enjoy the Blanky family's hospitality. Sinbad's Sohar Room features patio dining plus live entertainment, and it's available for private parties and special occasions. Sinbad's, everybody's favorite restaurant for over 50 years.
The only period without scoring has just passed in the Western Conference Final. Rob Blake of the Avalanche, his 6th. It stands up 1-0 Colorado after 40 minutes here in Denver.
After 40 minutes on Hockey Night in Canada.
Let's look to the east. The Toronto Maple Leafs are down 2-1 in their series to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Leafs have had their share of adversity in this playoff year, and it continues now. Pat Quinn is continuing to be in the hospital. With the latest on the Leafs situation, we hear from Mark Lee.
In Pat Quinn's absence, assistant coach Rick Lee has taken the reins of this Maple Leaf Hockey Club, and today he called a practice saying he didn't want his players sitting around feeling sorry. Indeed, resiliency has been the hallmark of this hockey club, but many observers are beginning to wonder how much more can it take.
On the outside looking in, today's practice did not look unlike any other, except there was no Pat Quinn. And beneath the steely resolve of this hockey team, real life was complicating sport.
The hard part of it is
as you say, a good friend and my boss, and our coach, you know, is not doing great. So that obviously is on everybody's mind, and we're worried about him. And
he definitely is a tough guy who he really doesn't want anybody to feel sorry for him. But the reality of it is he is our coach, but he's also a friend to all of us, and we're just hoping things work out for the best for him and his family.
For us, he'd want us to play on and play hard, and that's what we're trying to do. And hopefully tomorrow we'll come out with a big effort.
It's nothing new for this team. You know, guys have been dropping like flies around here, so you know, we wish him all the best. But the main thing is for him to get healthy, and you know, we'll deal with business here.
It's a tough loss for us, but number one goal is to get him back healthy and make sure that he's well looked after there. And I think that we're very capable as players and a coaching staff that's still here to get the job done.
But the pressure in this locker room is reaching new heights. Down 2-1 to Carolina, can the Leafs shoulder on? If Pat Quinn can't lead them, is Ricky Lee ready for it?
Counting the minors and the NHL, I've been head coach for 1,048 games. So it's not new to me. It may be a little bit more difficult stepping in. From that aspect, it's not hard. To say I wasn't nervous would be a lie. I'm nervous because it's this time of year.
Good play by Francis. Francis trying to set it up in front. Here's a chance. Score!
Rick Lee said today he'd hoped that last night's game would be a rallying point for the Maple Leafs with their head coach in the hospital. It was not. And now they're down 2-1 to Carolina. And Rick Lee has to take charge to rally this Maple Leaf team so that it doesn't go back to Carolina facing elimination.
Thanks very much, Mark. Leaf President Ken Dryden today indicating that Pat Quinn will not coach the game tomorrow night and likely not game number 5 in Carolina. A few notes. All 3 games in this series have ended 2-1. Carolina's won 2 of them. Nick Willeen and Jeff O'Neill, the OT winners for Carolina. Look at Artur Zerbe, 1.21 goals against, 9.44 save percentage versus the Leafs in this. And each team has 2 power play goals. All leads to game number 4 at the ACC. That's tomorrow night on CBC, coast to coast to coast in Canada, as the Leafs try to get back to a tie situation in the Eastern Conference Final. Here in Denver, 1-0 for the Avalanche over the Red Wings. Our series is tied. It won't be at the end of this hockey game.
Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires?
Approved. Enjoy.
Any road you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
Highway 2 and 401. We've got the wheels and we've got the fun. This is the place where great deals are done. Tilbury Auto Mall. Come on out, we'll make it worth the drive. We know you're gonna drive away satisfied. You ain't seen nothing till you've seen it all at Tilbury Auto Mall.
Highway 2 and 401. You put away a bit of money. Not a fortune, but with each passing day, it grows. Every so often you stop and think about it. You feel good. That's the beauty of saving. And when you buy Ontario savings bonds, you feel even better. Because you're investing in your future, your children's future, and Ontario's. Buy Ontario savings bonds. Competitive rates, 100% secure. Available everywhere, May 31st to June 21st.
What are you looking for in a real estate agent? If a professional attitude, a high standard of ethics, and a commitment to service is important to you, then you want a RE/MAX Preferred Realtor. Why are we #1 in Windsor and Essex County? It's because of the people. RE/MAX Preferred salespeople have the highest level of professionalism. With 65 of the best real estate agents working for you, we get the job done. RE/MAX Preferred. Call us first at 97-RE/MAX.
This Friday, see why sneak preview audiences were on their feet, cheering for Jennifer Lopez.
This is what you wanted, right?
In the movie that rocks the summer. Enough opens everywhere Friday.
Great Big C, live, Sunday, June 2nd on CBC.
Back in Denver, Colorado, Game 3 of the Western Conference Final, 1-0 for the Avs. First period goal by Rob Blake, his 6th. Here's Kelly Rudy. Let's talk a little bit about what's been happening in the National Hockey League. All kinds of transactions going on, and let's tell you what is happening as far as the Dallas Stars are concerned. Andy Moog, as we said, is signed as a goalie coach with the Stars. It is also noted today that the Stars will not sign Ed Belfour to another contract. He's a free agent. Doug Armstrong, the GM, saying that. Mike Babcock, former Cincinnati coach, has been named the head coach of the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. He also won a World Junior Championship with Team Canada '97. And in Philadelphia, Craig Hartsburg will go there as an assistant coach to Ken Hitchcock. I want to talk about Andy Moog and also Ed Belfour not being re-signed in Dallas.
Well, I think it's inevitable that Belfour is not coming back. I can say it now that they've announced it, and that he just caused too many problems at the end. And I know that he's a great goaltender. Every team would like him, but you don't have to babysit guys all the time. And unfortunately for Belfour, that's what they're doing in Dallas all the time.
How about quickly Ken Hitchcock building a little bit of a power base there with Craig Hartsburg in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think, to me, Hitchcock is going to do wonders in Philadelphia. He's going to keep guys like Roenick in line. They need a lot of babysitters there, frankly, and I think that Hitchcock, with his no-nonsense style, is going to be terrific there.
Question for you. In that Carolina series, Artur Zerbe has now gone 43 games without a playoff shutout. Only 2 goalies in NHL history have gone longer without a playoff shutout. Do you know who they are?
I know I'm up there, and I'm about 85 games.
Yes, you are 85 games, and the other one is in the building, Greg Millen, 59. Oh, Millsy, look at you. Oh, you poor guys. I thought you were pretty good goalies, though.
Oh, thanks. You're so nice, Scott.
A little history for you. Stanley Cup playoffs. It's 1-0 for the Colorado Avalanche, and we're coming up with a third period next across the country.
Like hot seasoned chicken, cool crisp lettuce, shredded cheese, tasty bacon, and our special honey mustard dressing for just $4.99. Want a salad you can't beat? DQ something different.
I'm always on the run with lots to get done, but there's no limit to what I can Time to get this started right. I'll start with you. I'll start with you. Right now is my time. I'll do this just right to make the dream come true. I know
whether you're working on your house, your car, your life, or just your backswing, there's really only one place to start: Canadian Tire.
Does hair loss bother you? Investigate my micro and mini grafting technique. I'm Dr. Christopher Cole, and I personally perform your individual consultation, artistic hairline design, and hair transplant procedure. I do it with the greatest attention to detail to create the most natural appearance possible. Boating, swimming, baseball, golf. Enjoy your natural-looking, growing hair in any activity you want. Take advantage of the favorable U.S. exchange rate. We're just 20 minutes from the border. The Cole Clinic for Hair Transplants.
151 countries, one ride. Canadian Club.
Back in Denver, Sergei Fedorov has a chance, but Patrick Waugh gets his glove out, makes the save, and he shows Thomas Holmstrom, yeah, I got it right there. This one is not going in. First period of play is where the goal came. Off the point, Joe Sakic deflected by Rob Blake, his 6th. That's the way it stands right now. 1-0 Colorado, with third period action coming up next in the West.
Gina?
You know, when I was first hired, we didn't have all these fancy integrated systems. Our sales program wasn't even linked with accounting. Warehouse platform in Chicago wasn't linked to anything, not even shipping. Back then, orders took days. Now they just take hours.
Wow, how long have you been working here?
A couple of months now.
When software solutions quickly connect all your business systems, that's 1 degree of separation. That's business with .NET from Microsoft.
Sinbad's legendary riverfront restaurant and saloon has been the place where family and friends come to satisfy vigorous appetites. Generous portions of lobster and seafood, black Angus steaks done to perfection. Try a man-sized sandwich or one of our Billy Buster burgers. Come by land or sea from Canada or the suburbs and enjoy the Blanky family's hospitality. Sinbad's Sohar room features patio dining plus live entertainment, and it's available for private parties and special occasions. Sinbad's, everybody's favorite restaurant for over 50 years.
I feel very fortunate to be in this line of work.
Dr. Christopher Cole of the Cole Clinic for Hair Transplants.
I can't think of any other area of medicine that I've been in where I've received such positive feedback from my patients.
I was very confident when I went there because I trusted Dr. Cole so much as a medical doctor.
It makes you feel good about yourself. He gives you your life back. Now I just look and I just feel good. And it's just added to my self-confidence.
Take advantage of the favorable U.S. exchange. Contact Dr. Cole and his team today.
Round 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Peace up. The Leafs' top guns have returned, and the Air Canada Centre will be rocking for Game 4. The quest for the Cup continues tomorrow on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada.
Third period upcoming in Denver with the Colorado Avalanche continuing to lead 1-0. You'd think the Red Wings would be in pretty good shape holding Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg without a shot each through 2 periods, and here they are still having to play catch-up. In fact, only 3 Avalanche forwards have shots in this game. Draper, McCarty, and Maltby start for the Red Wings. They've trailed after 2 only twice this season. A bouncing shot in on Waugh. Draper going after it. He's hooked at and tugged by Hayduke in the corner. Castoriadis watching his man. It's McCarty sweeping in front. Knocked down before he could get a shot away.
I still think Detroit are in good shape, though. I really do, even though they're down by a shot. They've kept the game down. The crowd is out of it. The chances to score are low. And they just need to get a break here, perhaps on the power play. But on the road, this isn't a bad thing at the moment for the Red Wings.
They have played a solid road game, but for the fact they surrendered a power play goal in the first period. And a deflection, which beat Hatchett. And an offside at the line. Greg, you talked about the big guns having to get going for Detroit in this game. 21 shots through 2 periods. Sergei Fedorov leading the way with 4, and those big guns, the 5 guys they need to score, have 10 of the 21 shots.
They're coming, and as you mentioned, Colorado have not been able to get their guys going yet. However, you know that they only need 1 chance. Players like Sakic, players like Forsberg. Now we've got Forsberg out against Fisher here. So let's see if Scotty Bowman continues to work on his line matchups and defense pairing matchups and gets them off the ice against Peter Forsberg.
Fedorov centering Robitaille and Holmstrom, and Robitaille, of those big guns, the only forward without a shot for Detroit. So Robitaille continues to be frustrated offensively. Murray fired it around, it bounced over the stick to Fisher. Here's one of those, Greg, you disagree with. That's an icing call. And it looked like Fisher was able to play that puck at the point.
Oh, I don't like that call, and I think we'll see that change in the summer. And why don't we look at Peter Forsberg, and when he scores a goal, I mean, it's unbelievable in the regular season. Just 5 losses, and in the playoffs since '96, boy, 27 wins when Forsberg gets on the board. And in this series, obviously, he's been a force in the first 2 games. Quiet tonight, but he can wake up at any second.
Sakic and Williams on this face-off to the right of Patrick Roy, and we'll have another matchup. The Sakic is waved out. It'll be Hayduke. From the scrum, a quick shot by Yzerman. Colorado was in good shape off that face-off, and suddenly Eiserman with a chance. Now Sakic had it out, went back in off the stick of Tanguay, and now play is stopped. Well, a year ago, they were on their way to the Stanley Cup, in large part because of this man and the inspiration and play he provided. There's Raymond Bourque.
I mentioned before the game how little we've heard about Ray Bourque this year. I know everyone's moved on. However, he was such a big influence on so many players in Colorado's locker room, and that terrific run the Avalanche had last year to win the Stanley Cup.
You wondered, losing Bourque and John Clem to free agency, how Colorado's blue line would be able to hold up. You've got a guy like Greg DeVries on the ice right now who's really stepped up, both offensively and defensively, for the Avalanche. And of course, there's Adam Foote, who logged so much ice time and leading the NHL playoffs in block shots. Pretty performer he is. Pass went by Hayduk, and this is a very sloppy start to the third period.
It's been a strange game as both teams are just so afraid to make a mistake.
Rare shift for the fourth line for Colorado. Riku Hall, Brad Larson come out. And Dan Heinold with them. Bob Hartnell looking for some energy. Dandino plays it ahead. There's that suit. Chopped away by Larson. Dandino to Devereaux. And it's into the Colorado zone. Joining us late, a much different game than the first two in Detroit. And very close to the best so far tonight. Kasparaitis over the line, rolling it deep. Peeling back. Yell's now out. Keane gets a piece of Chelios. They jam along the boards. Yell trying to dig it out of there. And it's Devereaux away with the puck. Now Steve Duchesne flipping it in, and he'll head to the bench on a change. Third pair is out for Colorado on defense. Skula and Ure. And it's Martin Skula up to Messier. He got it into the Detroit zone and heads off as the Forsberg line comes out. And there's Forsberg off the bench, playing it to Foote. Looking back Forsberg's way. He got it into Drury. And it's offside at the line.
Well, Steven Reinprecht, the fine player for the Avalanche, has, of course, had a full year now in the National Hockey League to enjoy this hockey club and the situation, and look what he has on in this morning skate. The hat from last year. He decided to put it on in Game 7 against the Los Angeles Kings for a little bit of luck, and he hasn't taken it off since.
DeVries pinching in to hold the zone for Colorado. Now Forsberg with it. Worked over by his countryman Holmstrom. Along the wall, they continue to scrum. Reinprecht. And the puck finally controlled by Detroit. Fedorov gave it back. Here's Forsberg. Dropping for Drury and Fedorov recovered to knock it away. Now he goes to the attack. Over the line. Sergei Fedorov shot knocked out. Holmstrom right on. Big chance there. And Patrick Waugh equal to the occasion. Now back out it goes. Lidstrom fakes over to Olesen. And he plays it high off the glass. It ends up behind the net. Knocked down there was Robitaille. Now Fedorov. Holmstrom trying to center it. Can't get it in front. Fedorov's after it. Causing a problem in the Colorado zone. Olesen shot off a skate. Fedorov winds, fires. Loose in front. They score! The Red Wings have tied it.
Well, the move works for Scotty Bowman. Fedorov playing on this line with Holmstrom and Luc Robitaille. And what a terrific job down low by Detroit as they continue to get the puck back on their sticks and some fine puck recovery. Patrick Wall lets the rebound out. I don't believe Luc Robitaille touches this. Here is the shot from the half board. And it's DeVries that's going to knock it into his own net. And he knows it. And it may have hit Luc Robitaille. I doubt it. Sergei Fedorov's going to get the goal from the half boards as it was pushed into the net by Greg DeVries.
Well, after the giveaway in his own zone, Fedorov really turned up the heat on that shift. And he does get credit for the goal, which ends an 8-game scoring drought for Sergei Fedorov.
And they're going to give it to Robitaille because perhaps it hit him afterwards. Here's the shot from the half boards. DeVries gloves it here. I don't know that that hit Robitaille or not.
Might get a better look here.
A better look.
Well, the goal is credited to Robitaille for the moment. 5:20, time of the equalizer for Detroit. So a 6th Colorado lead in this series is erased by the Red Wings.
May have hit Robitaille just in the foot on the way in, but it was DeVries who did all the work, pushing the puck in the net. And I've said this all along, Detroit were hanging around in this game, and now they've tied it up.
Well, he said he was unlucky, Luke, the other night. If it did hit him, a little good fortune for the Red Wings. And lucky Luke apparently has tied this game. Eiserman pass off his skate back to center, and the Detroit captain plays it back to veteran Chelios.
Now you know what, we may be here all night, Chris.
There's Heino, upended, play allowed to continue. Larson, a shot wide of the goal. Well, they maybe open it up a little bit. Here we go. Devereaux to the attack. And he can't get by Skula. Devereaux continues to battle Dandinoa. Shot off target. Heino trying to get it out, and he does.
That'd be good because the first 2 periods were like watching paint dry. It was so tight.
Well, these two teams can turn it up. Let's see if they do.
This is the life. This is your home away from home. This is your signature dish. This is marinating. And this is the life.
One more reason why he's the #1 innovator in LASIK surgery and has stepped into the future of laser eye correction. Dr. Tafor at the Windsor Laser Eye Institute now introduces the new LaterVision 4000 Total Eye Tracking System, combining the most experienced eye surgeon with the latest in laser technology. Call Dr. Tafor at the Windsor Laser Eye Institute and restore your vision safely and confidently. The Windsor Laser Eye Institute, focusing on the future and you.
You've probably joined clubs before. You've probably enjoyed great benefits. But there's one club that gives you more. Casino Windsor's Players Prestige Club. The club that gives you cash back and so much more. Casino Windsor. Absolutely more of what you're looking for.
Well, we now have video evidence that it is Luc Robitaille's goal.
He gets his big toe on the puck. I think it was going in anyway, but he helped it along just to make sure.
You know, a guy who has scored 620 in the league, most of them were prettier than that, but he'll take that one right now.
Well, a lot worked. Robitaille's made a career out of going to the net, tipping pucks in and getting in the way like he did there, and creating traffic.
Fedorov and Holmstrom get the assists. It's an offside at the Detroit line.
Volkswagen owners really love their cars. And right now, we've got some really great offers to help spread the love around.
I'm okay.
Back at the Pepsi Center, a 1-1 tie in Game 3. Series tied at 1. High note, Messier and Keane for the Avalanche against Detroit's prime line. Keane throws it in front, and it comes all the way out to center. Ryan Muir's on the ice with Skula. There's a pass on the left flank for Messier. There's Messier quickly, Draper on him. Messier continues to battle for the puck after the Detroit net. Where is it? Duchesne knocks it loose. Up for Maltby and off him to center. Doesn't look like they're anxious to trade rushes here in the third period.
They said we could be here all night. Very low chance game against two unbelievable goaltenders. Did you bring your slippers, Chris?
Well, Greg DeVries has been so good in these playoffs, victimized by an unfortunate bounce this time.
Better off with the shot. DeVries tries to knock it out of the way. He's looking into the corner, but the puck just doesn't go there for him. Off Robitaille and in the net.
Pulling the puck away from Sakic on that face-off. Past the 8-minute mark of the third period. Here's Tanguay. Across. Blake in! Fires! And Hasek to stop with heavy traffic in the neighborhood. Hayduke was at the front of the net, and he was getting jostled. Blake again shooting. Knocked down Fisher. Here's a chance. Tanguay couldn't roll it in. And Fedorov away. Sergei Fedorov to Holmstrom. His shot knocked away by Blake, and Blake finishes the check on Holmstrom. Now knocked ahead, and it's Sakic. Tanguay, he'll shoot it in and get a change. Shots are 7-1 Detroit in the third. And now Shanahan to the attack. Brendan Shanahan, a quick shot, and Oz got that.
In the first period that Blake has been hurting, some sort of a leg injury, and he's having trouble jumping into the play with quick bursts of speed, he told me this morning, and he gets tangled up here with Holmstrom. It seems to be okay, but you know the Red Wings are going to try to key on Blake every second they can. And he's mentioning to me this couple of days off will really help him in terms of recovery with the injury that he has.
So the shots now are 19-5 in favor of the Red Wings since the end of the first period. And they have tied the score here in the third on the Robitaille goal, his third of the playoffs, and that's another offside in what has been a stuttering third period.
You know, both teams now aren't even forechecking unless they got a chance. And here's the Red Wings. They're just lining up in standard trap, or actually just a, there it is. And an offside as the Red Wings bang it back into the zone, but Red Wings just putting 4 or 5 players in between the two blue lines and saying, come to me, see how you make out.
Left by Olesen. And again, with these two goaltenders and that style of play, we may be here a while.
Could do is dump it out of the zone, and all Detroit's going to do is dump it back in.
Hasek leaves the net. His way to Lidstrom. There's Shanahan. He'll try the near side. It went by Yzerman on the ice.
Stay with us, folks. Maybe something fun will happen here before this is over.
Yzerman knocked down the first attempt.
But it's right now. I got to tell you.
It's a little frustrating when you see all that talent out there. Everybody playing it as tight as they are. Blake to Kasparaitis. He'll send it around. Hall unable to kick it onto his stick, and they'll have to regroup at center once again. Kasparaitis shot it in. It hit that suit. Now Hull this kind of game. He's one of the guys that openly talks about the need to entertain, too. That's what it's all about. Here's a chance and a shot on Waugh, and the rebound cleared by the Avalanche.
It's a huge problem right now in the league because teams are so well coached, and I don't know how you solve it, to be quite honest with you.
And it over to McCarty. There are illegal defenses in basketball, but I guess it's just about impossible to have somebody up here ruling illegal trapping or defenses in hockey, so we get this. And not much offense.
What kind of people finish something but are never quite done with it? Isn't it done when it's finished? See, these people think up an idea, then they figure out a way to make it just a little better. Then more ideas come, and they keep making them better too. So they're never really finished. Maybe these people have some kind of weird DNA. They're smart. Smart but kooky. I wonder what they're gonna think of next.
Win a new Volkswagen GTI 1.8T. To enter, log on to cbc.ca/hockey.
Okay, guys, listen up. Look, I just wanted to say a few things before you guys head out. It's a bit like a dream being here. But look, let's take a second. Think back to when we first got together. Now think about all you've learned. That's what matters. That's what you guys should feel great about. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. The only reason we're here tonight is to have as much fun as we have back at our own rink. Let's go get them, guys!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tintbits Hockey. Tintport proudly supports minor hockey across Canada.
Commercial break, talking to his defenseman, trying to find a way to break this Detroit trap that they got going on at the moment.
And will we see any swashbuckling play from the defenseman on either side? Here under 9 minutes to go, looking for the go-ahead goal, which the way things are going tonight would likely be the winning goal. Shot off Hatchet's glove, and he had to pounce on that quickly with Mike Keane bearing down.
Well, McCarty has been involved in this series a lot, mostly on the receiving end, mind you. And this time he goes into the boards. You have to love the way he plays in traffic. He gets involved game in and game out. And Yell here gives him a little face wash. Off goes the helmet. And McCarty is playing such a disciplined style of game, and that's the way you have to play. If you're a tough guy and you get involved, you're in the penalty box in a series like this, you just won't play. You look at the shots on goal, and a huge advantage for Detroit. However, the chances to score are pretty even. A lot of the chances for shots for Detroit have been from the outside.
Now Forsberg, Reinprecht, and Drury are out against the Fedorov line. Skula shoveling it out to center, and here they go to the attack. Drury fired it and went off the stick of Chelios. To Fisher. Well, they've got that matchup. Forsberg's line against Fisher and Chelios. Centering pass, gobbled up by Robitaille, and rolled down the ice by Holmstrom from his own side of center. That'll bring the faceoff back in the Detroit zone.
Scotty Bowman hasn't used that as much or worried about his matchups quite as much in this third period as he did the first two periods. And Adam Foote is not on the bench at the moment. And let's look here behind the net. Ooh, his neck twists. And then he collides again with Mulphy. So he is left for a moment. We'll keep an eye on Foote.
You mentioned Blake playing hurt. Well, there's a long list of those players on either side, but some key men. There's Blake's shot off the mark. Yzerman sends it ahead. And another offside is called.
Shanahan, another player that has to get going. He did get some shots in the last game, but this game, once again, not enough shots, not enough work going into high traffic areas. But Rob Blake made a good point to me this morning about Shanahan. The number, he seems to follow him the puck. And when it does follow him, as we look at his points, his playoff production so far, you got to be careful because he's a one-shot scorer. He only needs one chance to put it in the net.
Good news for Avalanche fans. You saw Adam Foote return to the Colorado bench. Under 8 minutes left in the third period. A 1-1 tie. Blake on the power play in the first. And the Red Wings responding here in the third on Luc Robitaille's third of the postseason. Yzerman to Lidstrom. Lidstrom dropping it off. Shanahan shooting it into the corner. Yzerman going after it. Launched there by the other 19. Sakic battling, and now DeVries.
And the only way you're going to break down all this traffic is to get a defenseman to jump through, to overload the traffic in the neutral zone. We saw Lidstrom just do it. Watch for DeVries to do it, perhaps for Colorado. And a defenseman must jump in at some point to help out the offense because there's just so much traffic at the moment all over the ice.
That's what he was saying. We need more swashbuckling there.
You like that, don't you? You still can't figure out what it means, but
see if one of these defensemen can illustrate it for us. There's Riku Hall to the attack. Riku Hall on the backhand. Pad save, Hasek. Hall again in front. And play stopped, and we've got a penalty, a tripping penalty, going against Detroit.
An interesting call with 6:35 to go.
Excuse me, it's Brad Larson going off.
I believe it was on Datsuk. You know who doesn't like it much there. So let's have a look. Here's Hall. There's the chance.
And there's the trip.
Wow. That's a penalty that Scotty Bowman won't like much. Ball coming around, bad angle shot that Hasek will score more times than not. And late in the game, we were talking with Bowman about this morning. And it wasn't a chance to score. And he won't like it much. Even though it's against the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, he'll like it. But well, you're right, he was talking about consistency.
The only reason I'm saying that, Chris, we were talking about late penalties in games this morning with Scotty Bowman. And he was saying, I don't mind them as long as they're good penalties or take away a chance to score. Obviously, he'll like this, but the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, this is a situation where not often you see that kind of call in a tie game with 7 minutes to go. Even though it was, in fact, the penalty.
So a big chance for the Red Wings to claim the lead. Yzerman, Shanahan, Hull, Lidstrom, and Olofsson. Olofsson fires it around. Hull goes after it. Foote was there. Olofsson. Yzerman. One touch back to Olofsson, and now Lidstrom returns the puck. Olofsson shot, hit a stick, ends up in the seats. 33 seconds gone in the power play.
Good work by Colorado once again to get tight on Detroit's defense. The key is Nicholas Lidstrom with his one-timer, and Yell and Keane are taking that shot away from him. And if that happens, then Detroit's going to have to work the puck down low. A little give and go perhaps with Shanahan or Hull. We see Hull now up front. Of course, Scotty Bowman, who was using him on the point earlier in the game, can't risk that in a tie game. So he puts Hull back on the forward position.
Sakic and Yzerman, won by Yzerman. Olofsson to Hull, looks for the captain. Has to glove it down, and Sakic was there to knock it away. Avalanche have yet to score a short-handed goal in these playoffs. Hull swept it around, Messier there. Behind the net, Hull takes over for Detroit. Shanahan out to Lidstrom. Brendan Shanahan, who has orchestrated 8 power play goals with assists. Here's a shot on the other side, and the one-timer was pinned on. Back to Olofsson again. Now Lidstrom looks for Shanahan. Brendan Shanahan across. Olsen, and that hit a skate. 40 seconds left in the power play. Shanahan back for Lidstrom. Nick Lidstrom winds, now fires, and that's just off the target. And Shanahan unable to keep it in. Now he gives it up, and Adam Foote turns back in his own zone, lost it, and we've got another penalty coming up. And it's a hooking call going against the Red Wings. And now Scotty Bowman doesn't like it.
One of the problems when one official makes that kind of call, there may be an even-up situation. And here it is. Heisman goes to the penalty box, and it'll be 4-on-4 hockey for 19 seconds. And then it'll be a Colorado Avalanche power play.
Detroit, with 3 power plays in the game, did not register a shot.
There's a little hook. And that's the penalty. And, you know, Heisman can't like that. And, yes, Scotty Bowman, again, wouldn't like that call either. And that's why, Chris, I mentioned it when I did at the time, even though it was a power play by Colorado, because he knows that those things often turn into an even-up situation.
Well, the Red Wings almost get a break here as Blake comes over to help out. And look who stole the puck, Holmstrom.
And we see that a lot, though, that tug out of the square. That was a penalty under normal circumstances, no doubt about it. If Holmstrom's in, then yes, it is a situation where Eisenman does cause a chance to score while hooking.
Here's Chelios up to McCurdy at center. He'll roll it down. Larson getting set to return. And he is back on the ice. Fedorov out in a penalty-killing role. Leduc tying up Fedorov, but he gets it back to Fisher and Chelios. And finally, Colorado getting their power play unit out on the ice. Sakic pushes it ahead. Away goes Forsberg. Here's Peter Forsberg into the Detroit zone. Blake with the one-timer wide. On the far side, Tanguay and Sakic unable to keep it in, and it's sent down the ice. 4 minutes remaining in the third period, tied at 1. Just over a minute left of power play time for Colorado. Their goal tonight on the power play. Forsberg's pass knocked down, bounces to the corner. Tanguay in after it. Forsberg up with it. Getting it for Drury, a shot on Hatchet, and cleared by Maltby.
And look out for Drury. He loves these situations. He always seems to come up with a big goal for Colorado.
We mentioned 10 game-winning goals out of his 25 in the postseason. Now Heyduk's out there. Sakic knocked it down at the point. Reinprecht's on it. Joe Sakic, the back pass for Reinprecht. Steve Reinprecht, the Edmonton native, to Heyduk, and Sakic. Back to Heyduk. Bouncing puck. Draper there. Flipping it to the line. Picked in by Sakic. Now the line held again. Reinprecht pulled down. And away goes Fisher. Yuri Fisher and Dandino up on the play. Back for Fisher. And he knocked it across. Loose in front. Robitaille chopping at it. And the play had been whistled down. And the Avalanche go after Robitaille, who banged it under one to the back of the net.
And was it loose is the only question. An incredible save and second effort by Patrick Waugh. And I mentioned that the defense have to jump up to join the attack, but not both of them. Short-handed, no less.
Close call, and penalties coming up.
Bud Light Institute. Hi, are you putting golf balls in cases this year?
You bet. You can get a sleeve of Dunlop Advanced Titanium golf balls when you buy specially marked cases of Bud Light.
Great.
And if you find the golden ball, you and 3 friends are going to play around in Vegas.
Golden ball. Sounds like the name of an evil villain.
Is somebody frying baloney?
Must be legal drinking age, no purchase necessary.
This calls for Bud Light.
Erectile difficulties affects 1 in 3 men.
Sadly, many of these men may not realize ED is a medical condition that can be related to hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, and stress. But there is hope. Call the helpline below to get the facts about erectile difficulties or talk to your doctor. Do it now and get the most out of life.
My lawn is really my pride and joy. I know it's weed-free. I know it's dandelion-free. I know that for a fact because I hate dandelions. But every time I'm out here working on it, my neighbor Lana says, how do you get rid of your dandelions? I do it by using Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. A light granule sticks to that wet leaf much easier than a heavy granule, which would fall off. If it doesn't stick, it just doesn't work. Apply it, sticks to the leaf, Zappo. No more dandelions. Actually, to tell you the truth, she's trying to keep up with me. Uh-oh, I think she heard me. I think it's the greatest product ever made.
Two defensemen jump up into the play, and here they come. Fisher knocks it back into the crease. Pacquiao gets his glove on it, and listen. Yeah, he has it well covered before Luc Robitaille tapped it into the net, and that's why it's no goal. Face off to the right of Patrick Roy.
Yell and Robitaille get roughing penalties. 2:45 to play in the third period. 4-on-4 hockey. Yzerman and Shanahan. Sakic and Hejduk are the forwards. And here's Sakic over the line. Hejduk on the right side. Sakic lost it. And Shanahan starts back. Olsen jumping up on the play. Drop for Yzerman, and that shot sailing high off a stick way up into the seats.
Well, in this 4-on-4 situation, this is when you have to have a defenseman jump up in the play when you have a chance. And we'll see who both coaches put out. DeVries was out because he's been doing it all series long and all playoff run long. And now, of course, Blake will do it for Colorado if he can. He told me this morning he's having trouble doing it with his injury. And Fisher out for Detroit. We know he will do it, as he just did moments ago. And Duchesne will as well.
Well, it got interesting, didn't it? The power plays for either side, now 4-on-4.
The only thing about this I don't quite like is Duchesne and Fisher out against Forsberg and Drury. It's an interesting combination for Scotty Bowman out against the two-star forwards for Colorado.
He has Fedorov with Hull, a pairing we don't often see. Hull battling behind the net, centered it. Drury there. Now Drury looks for Forsberg. A 3-on-3 rush into the Detroit zone. Forsberg curls, looks to return it to Drury. Drury hit along the boards and knocked down by Fisher. Forsberg can't come off the boards with control. Fisher knocks it loose. Under 2 minutes left. And we're into the second minute of this 4-on-4 as both teams make changes. Nick Lidstrom on the ice. Looks for Fedorov, spins it to an open wing, and Alex Tanguay is there.
This is one way to get open ice. Make them play 4-on-4 for a bit.
DeVries, Rick wide on the tape. Sakic! Oh, he whistled that wide. All the way around, and it popped over the stick of DeVries. Oh, that looked like a game breaker. As Sakic was flying, back in DeVries. Takes the shot and hit Tanguay. And Lidstrom plays it to his partner Olsen. 15 seconds left, 4-on-4. And we are down to the final minute of regulation time. Shanahan up high, rebound. Draper was on that. Now Reinprecht. Penalized players return. Back to a full complement on either side. Reinprecht dashing in, knocked down by Draper. Fans react. Hejduk cycles it back into the corner. Rob Blake is up. Chelios moved it ahead and over the reach of Draper. Now Chelios moves up. He picks the shot, hangs on, and then played it back right onto the stick of Reinprecht. Avalanche changing, 20 seconds left. Looks like we're going to go to overtime once again. It'll be the fourth straight time in the conference final. Maltby over the line. One last shot. And Patrick Waugh required to make another save with 1.9 seconds on the clock.
I think the lad maybe perhaps a second on the clock as it ran a little bit here after Waugh made the save. But here we go again, Chris. I had the feeling this might happen. Detroit were hanging around in this game. They only needed one shot. They got it in the third period to tie it up. And it's been a very tight contest.
34-16 are the shots in favor of Detroit.
And the chances to score in this game have been very low. 13 for Detroit, we have them, just 9 for Colorado. And that is a low chance game. Especially if you're a Red Wing fan. 9 chances, you're holding the Avalanche to just 9 chances. That's a remarkable feat.
The 19's on the draw, one, holy shot was blocked. Sprawling play by Messier, who Bob Hartley calls his best shot blocker. And for the 4th straight night in the Stanley Cup playoffs, overtime coming up in the intermission. We will have a special news report and then be back for sudden death in Denver.
Okay, guys, listen up. Look, I just wanted to say a few things before you guys head out. It's a bit like a dream being here. But look, let's take a second. Think back to when we first got together. Now think about all you've learned. That's what matters. That's what you guys should feel great about. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. The only reason we're here tonight is to have as much fun as we have back at our own rink. Let's go get them, guys!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gintbits Hockey. Gintport proudly supports minor hockey across Canada.
Once you were dry. I made you juicy. You were weak. And I made you beefy. You were bland. I made you tasty. Lee and Barrett, the Burger Booster.
HP makes a bacon sandwich.
Long ago, when the gift of fire came to Earth, the first keepers of the flame emerged. They were the ones who nurtured it and preserved it, and they passed this learning along. And so, the tradition continues. The flame burns on, at least for another 10,000 years. Char-Broil, keepers of the flame.
The National. Overtime edition. Here is Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. We'll get back to overtime in a few minutes, but first a look at some of the stories we'll have on the National right after the game. Another explosion rocked a town near Tel Aviv today, killing at least 3 people and injuring dozens. It happened in an outdoor mall crowded with shoppers. And as Neil McDonald reports, it's the town's 2nd suicide bombing in 2 weeks.
Tonight's was the 5th suicide bombing in 2 weeks. Once again, the target was the Tel Aviv suburb of Rishon LeZion, in a gathering area outside a shopping mall. I heard a big explosion, said this woman. I can't even describe it. I fell on the floor, then I went out to see what had happened. It was all smoke. It was in the place where the old people sit and play cards. It was so sad. Once again, the bomber was disguised as an Israeli, this time with his hair bleached blonde. He wounded dozens, most not seriously, but a small number of victims were mangled. The bombing came just hours after Israeli soldiers assassinated 3 Palestinian militants in the city of Nablus. The men belonged to the Al-Aqsa brigades of Fatah, Yasser Arafat's political party. And tonight, Hezbollah's television station in Lebanon reported that the Al-Aqsa brigades had indeed claimed responsibility for the blast in Rishon LeZion. The station said Al-Aqsa wants Israel to know that the struggle continues. Al-Aqsa's goal is to drive Israel from the occupied territories. But given the mood in this country nowadays, the bombing campaign is more likely to result in Israel trying to force Yasser Arafat's permanent departure. Neil MacDonald, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Over the last few months, while Canadian soldiers were hunting for al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan, it appears a group of them was operating in Ontario. The province's Safety and Security Minister, Bob Runciman, says it was a sleeper al-Qaeda cell, meaning there was no criminal activity. But he says intelligence agencies confirmed the group was part of the al-Qaeda terrorist network. Runciman says intense police surveillance finally drove the cell out of the province. He didn't say to where. We'll have a full report later on The National. Public Works Minister Don Boudria was back in the hot seat again today, taking fire from the opposition over allegations of conflict of interest. Today, Boudria offered an explanation, but as Christina Lawand explains, the opposition wasn't buying it.
It's all about Boudria's two-day vacation last March with his family at this luxury cottage, one that just happens to belong to the president of Groupe Everest, a Quebec ad agency that receives millions of dollars in contracts from Boudria's department under its controversial sponsorship program.
Colleagues have a right to ask these questions. They have a right to doubt. However,
Boudria has maintained all along that his son and daughter-in-law paid $800 for the cottage, fair market rate, he says. His office even produced a photocopy of this check, issued to Diane Deslauriers, the wife of Groupe Everest's president, signed by Boudria's daughter-in-law. But all week now, the opposition has questioned whether the check was even cash.
And when was it cash, if it was cash? I mean, this is the proof, and he's got the burden of the proof, so...
A burden indeed, because a check that isn't cashed means the weekend at the cottage is a gift. And it's a conflict of interest under Ottawa's official code of conduct for a minister to accept such a gift from someone his department does business with. This afternoon, the minister announced the check had just been cashed. His explanation for the suspicious delay? This Montreal church. The owners of the cottage sent the check to the priest here as a donation last month. So why did Father Gilles Savoie not cash it right away? Well, he wasn't around to answer questions. He's on vacation. But according to the signed affidavit, the priest says he kept the check in his pocket for several days, then later realized he couldn't deposit it because it was missing an endorsement signature. The priest then claims he returned the check to the cottage owners Monday, who eventually cashed it and sent him a new one.
there was no freebie, Mr. Speaker, and I think this document vindicates me. I thank my colleagues.
Well, the opposition wasn't quite so sure.
This certainly does not clear the air.
What we're talking about with the letter from the priest now has to do with a cover-up, with an attempt to try to make this look as though it is normal. It is not normal.
The ethics counselor is investigating the incident. Meanwhile, some in the opposition privately admit that at first they didn't think Boudria's vacation was such a big deal. That is, not until he tried to explain how it was paid for. Christina Lewan, CBC News, Ottawa.
For the first time in months, this woman is dominating the news in the U.S. tonight. Chandra Levy's disappearance more than a year ago helped end a congressman's career. Now police say they have recovered her remains. Police have confirmed that bones and clothing found in a Washington park this morning belong to Levy. The 24-year-old disappeared last April, and the story got a lot of media attention in the United States, mainly because of Levy's alleged affair with California Democrat Gary Condit. While he's never been named a suspect, Condit later lost his seat in Congress because of the scandal. Police say the cause of Levy's death is still not known. In Vancouver, accused serial killer Robert Pickton was charged with a 7th count of first-degree murder today, this one in connection with the death of 32-year-old Brenda Wolfe. She's one of 50 women who disappeared from Vancouver's east side over the last 20 years. Police continue to search Pickton's farm near Port Coquitlam, where human remains have been found. If you want to know more about the investigation, check out our website at cbc.ca. Firefighters in northern Alberta are waging a fierce battle tonight with a forest fire that's burning out of control. All day, water bombers attack the fire from the air, and on the ground, fire crews dig ditches around the perimeter. The fire began a week ago and has destroyed more than 70,000 hectares of forest. But officials say a drop in the temperature today is helping them gain the upper hand. And temperatures weren't the only thing falling in Alberta today. Hard to believe it with June just around the corner, but Calgary's been hit by a winter storm. Up to 30 centimeters of snow could fall before conditions improve. And that's a quick look at the news. We'll have those stories and much more on the National after overtime. Now, after a quick break, it's back to Hockey Night in Canada.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by the new grilled chicken salad from DQ. Try one today. DQ, something different.
Round 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs heats up. The Leafs' top guns have returned, and the Air Canada Centre will be rocking for Game 4. The quest for the Cup continues tomorrow on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada.
It's coming. The 2002 FIFA World Cup from Korea and Japan. Capture the magic. Starting May 31st on CBC. Play. Live weekly on CBC News World.
I see myself as the midnight cowboy of Canadian television.
The latest in arts and entertainment.
There's an empathy that I hope I can bring to a shoot, to an interview.
There's no pause button. Just play. Play with host Jian Ghomeshi. Live Thursday at 11 Eastern on CBC News World. CBC News, The National with Peter Mansbridge, tonight.
In celebration of World Cup soccer on CBC, catch the series on one of the world's favorite sports, a salute to its stars and its enduring popularity. The history of soccer, Sunday on CBC television.
Live, in concert, Newfoundland's favorite sons, Great Big Sea, in their first CBC television special. Their unmistakable sound will shake you. Great Big Sea, live, Sunday, June 2nd. Brought to you in part by Newfoundland and Labrador.
Canada's #1 motorcycle, Honda. It begins with technology that pushes performance to the limit. And it's more. When you ride a Honda, it fits, it works, it feels right. That's experience. And right now, that experience has never been more affordable. Get on a Shadow Ace 750 for as little as $135 a month. Now's the time. Honda's the one.
Rob Blake in the first period, Luc Robitaille in the third. Detroit 0-2 in overtimes in this playoff season. Colorado 2-1. As a matter of fact, Detroit hasn't won in overtime since '99. Kirk Maltby scored against the Avs. You said 5 overtimes in a 7-game series.
I did. I predicted that, didn't I, in this series? You know,
Swami.
So I'm going to go with, for Colorado, Rob Blake, but it's going to be a strange one. He's going to shoot from the point, maybe deflected by somebody in front. And Shanahan for the Red Wings. If you have all those shots, eventually you're going to score. How about you?
I'm going to go for the rookie Jason Williams for Detroit. I'm going to go for Peter Forsberg for Colorado. He's only got 24 points in the playoffs. Here is the bottom line. We'll see how it all pans out. It's 1-1 Colorado. Detroit, we're going to overtime in Denver.
Custom crepe for Stanley Cup, $2,700. 30 pairs of white gloves, size large, $360. Silver polish, $9. Spending every waking moment with hockey's holy grail, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, official card of the NHL and lifelong fan of Bill Pritchard, keeper of Lord Stanley's Cup.
Hi, can I cut your grass? Can I cut your grass?
Can I cut your grass?
Hi, can I fertilize your garden? Weed and feed your lawn and get rid of that little bag scratch problem?
Home hardware dealers have always been a little different. Full of great ideas and good advice, they're always ready to help with any lawn and garden project.
We better do something about these grubs.
Home hardware, help is close to home.
He serves, he scores. The NHL playoffs on cbc.ca/hockey. Our website with extra action you can't afford to miss. Up-to-the-minute game coverage and more on cbc.ca/hockey.
The violence continues, the human cost mounts. Watch CBC News for continuing coverage of the Middle East crisis. Our foreign correspondents deliver the latest, balanced and insightful reports on CBC News World.
Take a note, Ray. You've got your cup, Ray.
Back to Bob Bond. Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
You're looking at a superb hockey machine. He's got to be feeling on top of the world now. The Edmonton Oilers have won it again.
Right in front. They score!
The tradition continues with the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC's Hockey Night in Canada. The one and only.
So what do you think of Subway's sweet onion chicken teriyaki?
Just 6 grams of fat.
That's delicious.
And just 6 grams of fat.
Yeah, whatever.
Marinated chicken teriyaki topped with a sweet onion sauce. One of Subway's fresh-made tastes. There's also the tasty red wine vinaigrette club.
This is good.
Hard to believe it's just 6 grams of fat.
Hard to believe you keep interrupting me. My point is only at Subway can you get a sandwich that tastes this good.
And it has just 6 grams of fat.
Thank you, whoever you are.
You're welcome, whoever you are.
Subway is fresh!
Next goal wins in Denver, and the fans in a frenzy. Avalanche have won 4 straight on home ice in the postseason against Detroit. And the Red Wings snap that. The next goal gives the team that scores it the lead in the series. And right away, Scotty Bowman sends Draper, McCarty, and Maltby out. Olesen chopping at it. And now Hayduke turns back for Colorado. A lead pass for Sakic, broken up by Maltby, and sent back in the Avalanche zone. Draper lets it go. There's McCarty, his shot knocked down. Now Blake there. McCarty and Blake have battled through this series. And now McCarty's got the puck. Back to the point, Chelios, his shot off the skate of Kasparaitis, who will take over. Up the boards, Hayduke gets it out, and Yzerman's on the ice. There's Williams looking for Yzerman, broken up, Shanahan comes up with it, Blake couldn't get it out, Shanahan tried to center it. Now Williams after it, taken to the boards. Yzerman twisting and turning in the Colorado zone, at the side of the net, trying to center, knocked off his stick by Forsberg. Williams now, Detroit pressure, loose in front, Yzerman couldn't reach it, and Forsberg will work it out. Detroit right to the attack, bad change, here comes Fisher, he's got Holmstrom in front, and he couldn't hook up with Holmstrom. A long change in this period, and Colorado nearly got burned. But here's Forsberg, in on the left side, broken up by Chelios. Chelios starting back, and it caromed off Forsberg, out of play. Hey, you gotta like it, a little open hockey here to start out this overtime session. And let's look at the first chance of this overtime. As Holmstrom's gonna get the puck. Here comes Fisher with the shot. He'll go through here. And here's Holmstrom. He just can't get enough of his skate on the puck to stop it as he was in. And that is all because of a bad change as the Colorado Avalanche, as you mentioned, Chris, took off early on their change. By the way, just to clear up one thing, those 2 calls late in the third period of play by both officials were because there was a change of possession. In other words, there was a trip and then a change of possession after the trip. Yzerman with a hook and then a change of possession as well. Here's a break for Robitaille with Fedorov. Robitaille fired it. Wow, the big stop rebound. Duchesne sent it high. Net came off. Waugh tried to get it back on. However, Rob Schick detecting it, and that negated the rush up ice for Patrick Waugh, who is 39-15.
in his Stanley Cup playoff career in overtime comes up large.
And how did the Red Wings get away with this here? Stop it. Look at all the Avalanche caught. I mean, that's unbelievable. And that creates, in overtime, a 2-on-1. And Patrick Waugh once again in perfect position. Then you can see him knock the net off afterwards as he leans with his glove and pushes the net. And here he wishes he probably didn't. Here's Robitaille with the chance. Waugh with the save. He'll go back. Push the net off there. Tries to get it back on because he realizes that his team is going back the other way with a man advantage break. Watched Patrick Waugh do that in the last game, in Game 2. Now, whether that was intentional or not, I am not sure, but if it wasn't, if it was, rather, he camouflaged it rather well.
Now Dan Heino on the ice with Larson. And Riku Hall, puck skipped by DeVries down the ice. Couldn't get it, but icing call against Detroit.
Smart veteran play, cagey play by Patrick Waugh again. First of all, he robs Luc Robitaille. By the way, Robitaille is a left-handed shot. He goes back. I don't know if he gave it. Yeah, he may have given an extra shove as he was out of position, falling back into the net. Here's another look at it. Here goes Waugh back. Sure he did. He gave it an extra little shove there and pushed it off because he knew he was positionally in trouble.
Great chance for Duchesne, coming late on the rush. Well, it does not appear to have the same tone as the other night. Scotty Bowman mentioned after the Game 2 overtime loss that he was playing for an extended overtime. Felt they could wear Colorado down. Avalanche playing basically with 2 lines and 4 defensemen. But an early goal in that game upset those plans. But tonight, Detroit really has gone to the attack early. That doesn't mean this will be done early.
Thankfully, things have opened up here to start off this overtime. Let's hope it keeps going.
It was a good thing we had an extra day between games 3 and 4. Here's Devereaux. Bouncing it down. Waugh out to play it. Gilbert coming on. Here's Devereaux with it. Knocked down by Blake. Different unit here. Draper's late on the ice, along with Devereaux and Hull. Puck chopped away. Here's Drury on it with Forsberg. And a sprawling defensive play there. And a good one by Freddie Olesen. Now a head pass to McCarty. And Fedorov over the line. Here's McCarty in front. A chance. Oh, and a shot fired wide by Maltby. Here's Maltby left uncovered in front of the net. And that almost did it. So Detroit getting the better chances. But now Reinbeck starts back. 2 spots. Kasparaitis jumping up. Checked by Lidstrom again. Another fine stick check by Lidstrom. And a play offside. Frederick Olesen. For a great play, too.
I am absolutely shocked after the way these two teams played in the third period. Look at Lidstrom going down the boards. He gets caught. That creates a 2-on-1. Freddie Olesen with a wonderful defensive play as he slides and takes away the pass on the 2-on-1. Terrific play. As Forsberg was wide open in front if Drury could have got him through.
Game breaker Chris Drury can be. Yell on the ice now, up against Williams. Looked like the Avalanche wanted a change there from the faceoff, but Detroit has it. And an offside. Let's see if Bob Hartley changes things up or leaves this matchup out there. And he does want to change.
There it is. Right away, Sakic waits and gets on. I told you this before, Hartley loves to go head-to-head. Star players against star players.
Fired in by Dandino, and he immediately goes to the Detroit bench. On comes Chelios.
Chris, you make a good point. You know, the Avalanche have not used their 4th line very much in this game. Or Detroit would probably much rather have this overtime session go a little longer.
Yzerman, as Williams stayed on side. Waugh out. Around Yzerman in front. Williams shot it into the corner with Waugh getting back into position. Now Hayduk into Detroit territory. Milan Hayduk shot. Picked out by Hasek. Fisher headman the puck behind Shanahan. The length of the ice. It's an icing call against Detroit.
How did we get here? After a power play goal by Colorado. In the third period, the Red Wings tie it up. As DeVries throws the puck, trying to throw it into the corner, puts it right into his own net off Luc Robitaille's big toe. It's there. Robitaille gets credit for the goal, and that ties the game up. After Blake scored earlier in the game on the power play.
Face-off control by the Red Wings. Now Olsen with Lidstrom. Drury to Forsberg, and he couldn't get the shot away. Robitaille takes over, looks rink wide. There's Olsen to the red line, and now in. And Fedorov was a step ahead of the play on the left side.
Well, we played 5 minutes. Both teams have gone for it. That's a pattern that normally happens, and then now what will happen, I think, is both teams will start to close it down and tighten things up again.
The National Manitoba East comes your way with Peter Mansbridge. Following the conclusion of this game, Ian Hanaman Singh with Canada Now for the rest of the country.
And the chance to score we have it in overtime is 4-1. And David, what were the chances for Detroit after regulation time? I'm going to get it here for you. 13 for Detroit. Give you an idea of how open this has been already for Detroit in this overtime session.
There's Drury looking for Reinbrecht on the right wing. This line for Colorado, really three natural centers. Drury, Reinbrecht, and Forsberg. Now Fedorov back in. Robitaille, weak shot wide. Holmstrom for Fedorov. His shot at the net. Picked out by Waugh. All the way to Forsberg. And now the net knocked ajar again, so they stop play.
So once again, the net comes off. And once again, Colorado are on a rush the other way.
Now, Peter Forsberg does not have a shot in this game.
And Robitaille has had a much better game for Detroit. And one of the reasons why is because he's been cruising around that net a little more and going to the net. He's had some help with Fedorov on his line.
Mentioned the better balance Scotty Bowman wanted to get between Robitaille and Shanahan. They were separated by about 10 minutes in game 2. Robitaille over 15 minutes tonight. Shanahan just over 17 minutes. So looking for more offense and distributing the ice time a little more evenly so far tonight. Here's Heinold, Winkler Hall, and a blocker stop by Hasek. All on the ice again. Oh, does Bob Hartley like this rookie center who has the puck and now lost it as Datsuk, another rookie, took it away.
He likes him, but he's only played 5 minutes so far in this game in regulation time before overtime. So again, Hartley has not used this fourth line very much throughout the hockey game, but he's going to have to now if this overtime continues.
There's DeVries giving it back, a shot, Hasek down, puck loose, and scramble, and finally the Red Wings jump on it.
Well, there is the best chance so far for Colorado. And DeVries keeps the puck in. And off the half boards, Hayduk lets it go. Boy, that puck changed direction as well. It changed direction, and Hasek was Johnny on the spot to stay with it. There is the shot by Hayduk. Hasek doesn't really pick it up, but it hits him. But the good news for Hasek is he does pick up the rebound as Joe Sakic is waiting on the doorstep.
18th save of the game for the Dominator. Yzerman won the draw away from Sakic. Well, Detroit's been better in the overtime on faceoffs. Colorado controlled in regulation time. Tanguay shot. It just went wide. Hayduk behind the net. Can't center. Tanguay on it again. Circles in front. Shot it wide. As he left to the short side. And Detroit clears. Alex Tanguay trying to extend the full streak in this series. Debris knocked down. Play has been stopped.
This overtime, first of all, Detroit get good chances early, and now Colorado has countered with a couple of good shifts. And Sakic here with a nice little drop pass into the slot, and a good shot by Tanguay that just misses, and I mean just misses. And you can't give goal scorers like Tanguay this much time in a high percentage scoring area like this. And again, that puck hits a few sticks on the way in, or it would have been a chance to score in a shot on goal, and Hayduk was wide open in front for the rebound that would have came to him.
Nearly 7 minutes into overtime. Last shot wins game number 3 as they try to break a 1-1 tie in the game and the series. Maltby sends it around, and it boomerangs all the way back to center. Maltby really nailing Stefan Yell, and he's been shaken up. Yell slowly to the Colorado bench. Boy, he was in real discomfort. He went by an open door and all the way to the back door that will take him to the dressing room. And he is headed right to the room.
Maltby ever get him?
Left down by Fisher. Rolled into the corner. McCarty for Shanahan. Brendan Shanahan's out with Draper and McCarty. Here's Olesen. His shot hit Messier. Bounces behind the net. Draper there, and now Shanahan. Lidstrom comes off the bench. He's at the point. McCarty hit by Skula. Martin Skula battling with McCarty. Detroit with some pressure. There's Jason Williams. Fresh legs are out for Detroit. And a long shift here for this Avalanche group. Yzerman. Watched by Skula as he works along the boards. Yzerman in front. And a block there by Hall. Hall down again. Puck loose. And the Red Wings still have it. Avalanche on their heels. In trouble. Yzerman back out. Here's Lidstrom's shot, blocked by Keane. Another shot. Patrick Roy is going to say enough of that.
Smart change by Scotty Bowman as he gets the Yzerman line out against Mira and Skruda, who don't play very much. The fourth defensive pairing for the Avalanche, and Hall with a couple of good shot blocks here to save the day. And Yell gets pasted, and I mean hit by Maltby. Ooh. Well, that looks like ribs to me, as he caught his ribs right on the dasherboard. And he is in the locker room at the moment and has not come back yet.
Fedorov on this face-off, but Sakic winning it easily. Fisher holding the zone. There's Robitaille. Hit by Foot. Holmstrom in support, up with the puck. Back to Robitaille behind the net. Foot still there. Now Fedorov will try for some open room. In front, Fedorov! Oh, huge stop by Patrick Roy. Great chance for Sergei Fedorov. Right from point-blank range, and now Tanguay to the attack with Hayduk, and that play is offside. But Sergei Fedorov won't get a better chance than that to bump an 8-game slump.
And now we got a goalie battle going, and a beauty. A terrific pick run here by the Red Wings to free up Fedorov. And here it comes on Debris right there as Holmstrom picks him enough so Fedorov can come through the scene. And how about that right pad save? I mean, what a beauty. Was out, top of his crease, and that's just a reaction save.
Yes, we could be here a while.
The goalies start doing this. We've been waiting for them to do this, and so far in overtime, they have both been fantastic.
Hull chipping it out to center. Now Kasparaitis there, hounded by that suit, but on the second try, make sure it gets out. Fedorov 8 games without a goal in this playoff. His longest postseason drought, 10, back in '96. Boyd Devereaux hit by Kasparaitis. Drury sends it up the boards, and Olesen unable to keep it in. Lindstrom lays it back into Colorado ice. Off the Blake. Up ahead, Reinbeck unable to team the puck. And Draper will take over. Avalanche changing. Draper moves it quickly. In they come. Mulkey had it knocked off his stick. He's got it again. And Rico Hall clears it around. All on the ice, one-handing it ahead. Brad Larson, work line out. High note on the ice. Bob Hartley comparing Rico Hall to a young Guy Carbonneau or Doug Jarvis type. When we talked to him prior to the game, very gifted defensive player. Two-line offside called against Detroit.
He played just about 3 shifts a period in regulation time, and already he's been out 3 shifts. And he almost gets a goal here. Except on the wrong net. Patrick Waugh wasn't ready for that. His Hall hit the side of the net. And let's have a look at it from our net cam. How close was it? Well, close enough.
Sakic out, and Fedorov won by Sakic. Foot shot, bounced wide. Tanguay, oh, he goes heavily into the boards, but bounces up, broke his stick. Here's Fedorov, and that puck rolled on him, and he couldn't get good wood on the shot. Fedorov out with Yzerman on this shift. Tanguay back, great pass, Sakic, and he whipped it wide. There's another shot knocked down by Hasek as Hayduk tested the Detroit netminder from long range. Fedorov gives way, Fisher, Hasek, slamming his stick on the ice as Fisher tests Waugh. What's going on behind the play? Hasek really trying to get the attention of the Detroit bench.
Tanguay broke his stick, took Forsberg's stick, and then passed it to Joe Sakic for that chance.
There's Draper in. Draper knocked down. Well, that's the second time of the game Sakic has sped in and just missed. 8.5 minutes left in the first overtime period. Here's Mulkey. Great move. Big stop. Rebound. Shot wide by Draper. At the point, Olesen's shot. Hit Mulkey in front. The grind line coming close. Olesen's shot is blocked by Messier. To the line. Held in. Olesen missing the target. It'll come around to the near side. And again, the Avalanche in some trouble, and we'll have coincidental penalties as McCarty and Foote, I believe, were jostling in front of the net.
That's what it's going to be. Right in front of the net. So we're going to get a little 4-on-4 hockey, which will make it even more fun. And here's a look at these two Warriors battling it out, and you're going to see Foote here give McCarty a shot. McCarty get Foote a shot, and that's why they're in the penalty box. And Draper with a terrific chance right before these two penalties, and Maltby comes in, makes a terrific play to get the first chance. Draper had a wide open net and shot it over top of the net. Yell is back, I am told, after getting rocked by Maltby a couple of shifts ago.
41-21 the shots, favor of Detroit. Here's Stefan Yell. First time Colorado has surrendered 40-plus shots in a postseason game this year. Sakic and Kasparaitis working their way out. There's Hayduk, always dangerous. Hayduk on the attack. Sakic to the front of the net as Hayduk holds on. Now into the corner for Sakic. And Fisher there.
Again, Fisher and Duchesne paired up together here against these two stars. They did well last time in the 4-on-4 situation in the third. So far, so good here.
Here comes Yzerman, knocked away, and That puck went by Sakic. Otherwise, he had a break as Detroit was changing. Olsson scores! Freddie Olsson has scored for Detroit! And it took a defenseman to win it for the Red Wings.
In 4-on-4 situations, you need to have a defenseman to jump up. We talked about it in the third period of play on the 4-on-4 because someone has to join the offense to make an odd man rush.
The 42nd shot of the game is the game winner.
And let's have a look at it here. A terrific play by Steve Yzerman to find Olsson right in the slot. And Colorado's defense are backing right up on Patrick Roy, who has no chance. And Dominik Hasek starts it off with a perfect pass to Yzerman. Catches Colorado on the change, and here's Freddie Olsson with a skipper that skips past Patrick Roy. Colorado, you just see them at the top of your screen getting into the play. That's all because of Hasek, all because of his fine play to advance the puck up. And Patrick Roy has no chance as the defense are backing up on him.
Dare we say a swashbuckling play by Olsson to win it for the Red Wings. Yzerman and Hasek assist on the game winner.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Labatt Blue, official sponsor of the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands and watches the ship.
One of the bottles fell in.
Nice one.
I guess I'll get it. It's gonna be cold in there, man. Oh, baby won his bottle. How bad can it be?
What makes a great car company is the passion. You know, racing is such an important part of Ford's history, both with the cars themselves, some of the best drivers ever to drive, and then the fans. It's the man or the woman who's got the car in the garage, that tinkers all week, and then takes it to the track on the weekend and lets loose. I love it.
A 2-1 Red Wing victory in game number 3 of the Western Conference Final. They take a 2-1 series lead. Here are 4-3 stars from Denver. The first star, Sergei Fedorov, flying all night. Didn't score, but was close. Joe Sakic had another point for the Colorado Avalanche. Third star, Frederik Olsson, who gets his 5th career playoff goal, and this turns out to be the first ever game-winning goal for Frederik Olsson. How did you make it happen? What did you see, and where did you go?
Well, I saw a couple of the forwards went to change, and Stevie got the puck, and I yelled forward, he gave it to me, and they were a little bit backed in, and I just took the shot, and it went in.
What about this game? It seemed to be played so tight to the vest for so long, and then in the overtime, things opened up a little bit, Frederik.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes when players are starting to get a little tired, and you know, things happen that maybe normally doesn't happen.
You didn't play at the start of that Vancouver series, and then you were inserted in the lineup, and things started to roll for you. What do you think of the contribution you've been trying to make here for Detroit?
Well, I've just been trying to be a steady influence on the blue line, you know, and I think the whole team's been playing better since, you know, for every game that we played a lot better.
Have you felt an intensity to the rivalry with Colorado?
Well, they're a great hockey team, you know, so it's always going to be intensity when you play those guys.
Congratulations, and good luck the rest of the way, Frederik.
Thank you very much.
Frederik Olsson of the Detroit Red Wings, his 14th NHL season, gets the game-winning goal. Coming up next, the National Manitoba East. That's with Peter Mansbridge. British Columbia will see Canada now with Ian Hadamansing. Of course, tomorrow, Carolina-Toronto, game number 4. The Canes lead that series at 2-1. That's from the ACC at 7 Eastern, coast to coast. Our next game is on Saturday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, Detroit, Colorado, game number 4. The Wings lead the series 2-1, courtesy of a 2-1 victory in overtime against Colorado here. Freddie Olsson gets the goal. The Wings over Colorado. Thanks for watching. So long from Denver.
home of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And starting May 31st, the FIFA World Cup on CBC.